Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones this afternoon down 239 points to 40,288. Market update brought to you by the North Carolina Amateur Sports. The Body Armor State Games are coming this June to Greensboro. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Athletes of all ages and skills can register now at bodyarmorstategames.org.
They score! Taylor Hall! He'll step out in front. Marshall, he can't stop it! Jackson Blake! Svachnikov, he scores! That's the magic! Jarvis side of the net, they score! Jarvis to Aho! A power play goal! Back for Gostisbehere. Aho! Game over! Series over! Sebastian Aho wins it on the power play in overtime!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. On a Wednesday, I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. This show has a little bit of everything. Just like last night's game for the Carolina Hurricanes had a little bit of everything, including a game winner from Sebastian Aho to send the Carolina Hurricanes to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Today's show will have a conversation with one of the goal scorers from last night, Taylor Hall, expected to join the show on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. You could say he was the spark.
4:15.
Scored the first goal of the comeback after going down 3-0 in the first period. So that goal started the second period. We also are going to hear from Dan Morgan, GM of the Panthers. He had a busy weekend. NFL draft. Don't know if you've heard of it. The ratings would say we all pretty much watched it. So Dan Morgan will be joining the show. And we have to break down the how the hex from last night for the Carolina Hurricanes. Let me start with this. It's never easy to win an elimination game. Never easy to take a professional sports team and end their season, regardless of the status of the opponent. And last night proved that. I'm not here to say the Devils were their best selves last night. Right? They were injured. They were banged up. They were a lesser version of whatever they designed with their roster during the offseason. But I will also tell you this. I did spend part of my childhood in New Jersey. A lot of my friends are Devils fans. They were being very melancholy pregame. Oh, take it easy on us. Oh, don't beat up the team that's hurt. And I wrote back, they're going to put up a fight. Right, I knew because it's an elimination game and professional athletes are competitive individuals, it's not going to be easy. So last night, to put it mildly, not easy for the Carolina Hurricanes. But they found a way to get it done. Did they give up 3 goals in the first period?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Did they give up the go-ahead goal after storming back and scoring 3 goals in 6 minutes?
Yeah.
And tied at 3, and the place was electric, and everybody, all the momentum was on the Cane side, and then Nico Hischier scored. Whew, that felt real, like a wind out of the sails moment. Did Pyotr Kochetkov struggle at times? Yes. Did the guys in front of him struggle at times? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did they do the most Canes thing of the season, which is have a billion really good looks and have a hard time finishing? Yes. But none of that stopped them. And they came back, and it took 2 overtimes, and they won the game. And that right there should not be underappreciated just because it was the Devils or just because they were hurt or just because now you have to play whoever. No, appreciate winning a playoff series. Rod Brindamore, the head coach, talked after the game about the thought and the mindset in the locker room after what could only be described as a rough first period.
Let's try to get back in the game. That was kind of the message. Let's see what can happen. Let's see if we can close the gap, give it a chance. And the guys did, clearly. From that point on, it was exactly the way we need to play. And, overtime, it just kept getting better and better. And, it was one of those games where, you watch it enough overtime and you don't score, you're like, oh, I just kept sitting there going, but I give the guys so much credit because there's not many games that even when we don't play well, that we don't get back in the game. We find a way, and that's what happened tonight.
The Canes, we talked about it pregame. right? You just wanted to win the game. You wanted to advance. You could also send a message. That's a message from the Carolina Hurricanes to everybody else. We're never dead. You may think you have us right where you want us. We're never dead. That's what the Canes were saying. You know, I referenced the Mahomes stat yesterday. I want to make sure I say, because I don't know if I had it exactly right yesterday. Patrick Mahomes wins 52.9% of his games in the regular and postseason after his team falls behind by double digits. So if he is trailing by 10 or more, he wins that game 52.9% of the time. For reference, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Kirk Cousins, Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Panthers, and Andy Dalton, all of those guys in their career win less than 52.9% of their starts. He wins 52.9% after going down 10. That sends a message. You never get to relax. Everybody's always playing with their back tight, even when they have you up by two touchdowns. And that leads to the comebacks, right? Because then you're pressing, you're tight, you make a mistake, you panic. That's what the Canes are telling everybody. You may think you have us, but stay tight because we're coming. And then if they make a mistake, do you know what was crazy about the comeback last night? Taylor Hall scored that first goal. Keep in mind, the Devils were up 3-0. They dominated the first period. Taylor Hall scores that first goal, and partially because it's home, but you play hard for home ice. All the momentum changed. You were down 2, and it was a truck going downhill for the Canes. Everything changed. You could feel the Devils go, uh-oh. It's like you have a 2-goal lead. What are you saying, uh-oh for?
Yeah, we're sitting there like, they just need to get that one. Just get the one.
Then they score the next one, and it's like, all right, well, it's definitely going to be tied. Mm-hmm. It's definitely, we'll see how it plays out, but they're getting another. Svetch scores the third, place erupts. Right? It's truly a message sent. Even the game they lost, game 3. Play poorly for 2 periods. Your stars, Aho, Jarvis, score a couple of goals. You're going to overtime. They're never out of it. I'm going to say a statement here that I understand is completely ridiculous.
Okay.
I understand the ridiculousness, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you take away the 3 goals he gave up in the first period, I kind of like the night for Pyotr Kochetkov. Like, if you remove the first 20 minutes of his 80-plus minutes on the ice, yeah, but there's a lot to build on there.
You can also say that about the entire team.
I think you could say about the entire team if you remove the first 30 minutes. They played great. Kochetkov, it's like, well, still control your rebounds, right? Still, there's a few, like, it wasn't the ideal performance, but I think there's something to build off of there, and it shows the darn mental fortitude of the individual. Pyotr Kochetkov, you can say whatever you want to say about him. In the last 24 hours, I feel like I've heard everything said about that guy. The one thing you can't say is that he goes in the tank or that he picks up his equipment and goes home. The guy plays. Rod Brindamore on Kochetkov's ability to bounce back, again, from post-game media.
He has a real good ability, I think, to just, move on. The only, changing the goalie at that point wasn't him. I mean, everybody was junk. So it could have been to wake the group up, but, maybe if there was another one, but it wasn't on him, that's for sure.
I think that's a great message. Because, obviously, the goalie always has to wear some of it, right? The goalie you could always help your team out by making a great save, but they were doing him no favors in that first round.
So many turnovers.
First period.
Yeah, but so many turnovers. Just look at the second goal. It was Taylor Hall, someone we're going to talk to, decides to take the puck back into traffic in the defensive end, then all of a sudden gives it to Slavin, who has to rush a puck out, turnover, boom, it's in the back of the net.
And even if you want to nitpick Kochetkov's rebound control, it's like, well, if he blocked, you can still clear it, right? You can still get there first. It doesn't have to be another shot attempt.
Yeah.
So there was some, like, Kochetkov's going to be the one that catches the arrows, but it's all of us that are needing to play better. There was some of that. Was a lot of that. You worry about the confidence of the goalie, right? Because even no matter how much logic you appeal to with somebody, like, hey, it's not your fault. They kind of set you up. Hey, you were in a bad spot. Goalies see numbers on the scoreboard, and sometimes it rattles them. I'm glad they won for Kokaniemi's sake. Took a stick to the face. I used to say this to receivers when you throw it like high over the middle, back when you were allowed to hit receivers high over the middle. You're like, listen, they're going to hit you anyway. You might as well catch it. It's like if you're going to take a stick to the face and need stitches and it's going to be a high stick and you're going to get the 4 minutes of power play, well, you better win the game, right? If the power play didn't come through, it wasn't like the wound healed up. So I'm glad that if he was gonna take the hit and draw the penalty, that his teammates backed him up and they got the win. And that's just, I said that game has everything. It had a hot start from the Devils. It had a storm back from the Canes. It had the Devils answering. It had the Canes answering. It had a 40-minute stretch with no goals scored.
And Jacob Markstrom standing on his head for a while.
In the first overtime, Jacob Markstrom is unbelievable. And it had like a bunch of weird career highs. Career high in hits for Martinook. The highest, his season high in hits was 4. He had 10 hits last night. 8 was his career high, and that's from over half a decade ago. Career high in shots on goal for Svech. It had everything last night, including a ticket punch to the second round for the Carolina Hurricanes. And we haven't mentioned this guy enough. A Sebastian Aho game winner. We said it yesterday. Top guys have to play like top guys in those games, and for enough to get the win, the top guys did. We'll highlight some of those performances coming up right here on The Drive. Don't forget, Dan Morgan joining us later this hour, Panthers GM, and Taylor Hall joining us next hour, Canes winger, who scored the first goal of the night for the Canes yesterday. That all coming up here on The Drive. Don't go anywhere.
Need more Stanley Cup chatter, Canes fans? Listen afternoons at 12:15 and 4:15 for our Cup Check-In. Served up by Carolina Ale House. Adam Gold talks with hockey's best, past and present, bringing you the latest insight on the chase for Lord Stanley's Cup. It's the Cup Check-In on 99.9 The Fan. Served up by Carolina Ale House. Come to Carolina Ale House Cary for away game watch parties throughout the playoffs, or visit CarolinaAleHouse.com/Canes.
John is in a hot tub on his vacation. He earned 20,000 points by spending $2,000 with his Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card. To be clear, you don't have to vacation in a hot tub to redeem this offer. But John did, because the bubbles make him happy. Right now, you can earn 20,000 points when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. Offer ends January 1st, 2026. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Visit NavyFederal.org for details.
It's a rivalry showdown. May 6th at First Horizon Stadium in Cary. North Carolina FC faces off against the MLS's Charlotte FC in the special U.S. Open Cup match. Tickets are going fast for this must-see hometown rivalry. Starting at just $22. Get them at tickets.northcarolinafc.com.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I am in studio with Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I always tell people, if it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it. Are windows exterior or interior? There's a debate.
We like to think of them on the outside because that's typically why people are calling us, because on the outside of their house, they're seeing rotten trim. Or maybe on the inside, maybe they're seeing the outside from the inside. And that's a problem. If you are seeing the outside from the inside, give the Aluminum Company a call. We can help you. We have vinyl windows. They won't rot. They won't deteriorate. And if you have rotten, deteriorated trim, something like that, we're happy to take care of it at the same time. When we're taking the windows out, we can address all issues with the window at that time.
And how many different styles of window are there?
Thousands for you, Adam.
Thousands.
Hundreds.
Thousands of styles. And you can put a window where there isn't a window.
That's our favorite thing to do.
800-672-4348 or aluminumcompany.com.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet? RV wins! Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach? RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it. by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
He'll leave it here for Orlov. Orlov wants to make a move. Up top, Svechnikov, he scores! That's the magic! We're tied at
3! The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. In an elimination game, or the ability to eliminate your opponent's game, your top guys have to play like top guys. Right? Somebody has to be the one to put the other team out of their misery. Enter Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov last night. Let's start with Svech. Goodness gracious, is it good to see what Andrei Svechnikov put on the ice this series against the Devils. Complete and total package. Hits, goals scored. We'll talk about the shots on goal, but the instigating without getting caught up in it nature of how he played, where you could tell he was in the Devils' brain space. He had them rattled. Meanwhile, he wasn't necessarily picking up dumb penalties and crossing the line. That's everything you wanted from Svech. Especially in comparison to how he kind of finished up the regular season, although he did score in game 82. There was a long drought before that. When the game was ugly, that first period, at times the only bright spot was Andrei Svechnikov trying to make a play. And I'm not saying that, I don't want to put too much on good looks in a rough period, but it is just good for your eyes and your soul to get a little oasis of, okay, there's something there in the midst of giving up a goal, turning it over, not possessing the puck, and not pressing the Devils like you should. And then Svechnikov, nice little run there, sets up an opportunity. Okay, whew. Giving up a goal, not, Dennis was tracking when the Canes were going to force their first icing, right? It was just in a wave of a lot of things not going your way. Svech was the oasis of doing things right. And then he scored the third goal to make it 3-3, place lit up. And it was an electric goal, too. It wasn't a grimy, dirty, knockback. It wasn't a rebound. This was something intentional, and it was cool. Andrei Svechnikov needs to hunt and be selfish like that every game. Right? It's the definition of what I call avocado selfishness. Right? There's most of the time eating fats are bad, and then somebody with a nutritionist degree will go, actually, the fats in avocados are good. Same thing with selfishness. Most selfishness is bad until there's a player like Andrei Svechnikov, and it's like, well, actually, his selfishness would be good for the team. It's avocado selfishness. We talked with Mike Maniscalco before the game, right? And we brought up that Mike Maniscalco, voice of the Canes. You hear him here on 99.9 The Fan. I brought up that Svech was playing really well in this first-round playoff series. And I said, what's different between Svech this regular season and Andrei Svechnikov in this postseason series? And he said, not to make it too simple, he's shooting the puck. And he gave us a little insight into Andrei Svechnikov. Maniscalco said, well, actually, he actually thinks of himself as like a playmaker, not always just as a scorer. And I went, well, can we rewire that? Can we tell him go be a cold-blooded, stone-cold scorer? And, then it led to a little laugh, and he was like, well, that's what the coach has been trying to do. Andrei Svechnikov broke his career high in shots on goal last night. If that's not like the setup and the punchline. It was right there. Before the game, Mike Maniscalco said the thing that's making him play well is he's shooting the puck. Then he went out into the game, scored the tying goal in a dramatic, fiery comeback, and broke his career high in shots on goal as one of the best players on the ice. And as Rod Brindamore says right here after the game, That was the Andrei Svechnikov we've been waiting to see.
I don't want to say we forgot what it was like. We kind of got used to just he went through a stretch there where it was like, and then now it's like there it is. That's the guy that we all love, right? And I mean, I don't know what he ended up with tonight, but it felt like he was firing pucks, and he was just every shift that he got out there. I was like, okay, they're going to get one, and he did, but. After the first outline especially, I thought it was really good.
That's the Svech we've been waiting to see.
He was told right after that quote that, he had 9 shots on goal. He goes, that's a good number. That's right where he needs to be.
I mean, I'll would I have settled for 6? Yes, but 9 if it's there, take it. And by the way, he had the one goal. He rang the post. Like, these were good looks. These were not forced shots outside of the realm of the system. They were good shots. They were earned. Right spot, right place, good chemistry with his line. There was a lot going on there that was good. And then there's this other guy named Sebastian Aho. The most underrated superstar in the league. So much so that I watch every game and love Sebastian Aho, and occasionally I miss the special. Occasionally I get a little like, gosh, I want him to be more edgy. Gosh, I want him to be more, maybe some more avocado selfishness. I want him to be more mean. But then you see a game like last night where he has the opportunity to go bloodthirsty with it and put the Devils out of their misery and send them on vacation. The Devils went up 4-3 on the Hischier goal little before the midway point of the game, right, or of regulation, right, little before the midway point of the second period. They go up 4-3. Only one player scored from that point on. Sebastian Aho. He scored the equalizer later in the period, and then he scored the winner in the second overtime. Scored off a beautiful pass from Jarvis, which is awesome, Jarvis to Aho. I mean, they're going to be doing that for a long time. Then he scored the game winner. He was aggressive. I liked a few times, and not all of them were complete. He tried some real highlight stick handling moves, some little backdoor actions between the legs, some cool, like, you could tell he was understanding, I'm the best player on the ice right now. Let me show it. He was looking to shoot more. And you cannot argue. I hate this term, but I don't actually have a better one to replace it with. It's very a Skip Bayless term. You can't argue with his clutch gene. This year, the story of Sebastian Aho has been like his overall point production a little bit down, overall goal scoring a little bit down. But seemingly every time they go to overtime, he's scoring the goal. Seemingly every time that they get the crucial goal down 1 in the third period, he's either setting up Jarvis or he's the one scoring it. Kane's Stats, shout out to them on Twitter, becoming one of my favorite follows.
Good dude.
Sebastian Aho has played in 14 series clinching games. In those games, he has 10 goals. Not points, 10 goals. In more than 2/3 of his series clinching opportunities, on average, the guy scores a goal. That's a clutch gene. That's the unexplainable. That's the rising to the moment. That's, for lack, I don't always see it, but that's bloodthirst. That's killer instinct. That's sensing that your opponent is ready to be knocked out, and he's like, I got the haymaker. That's what I like from Sebastian Aho.
It's also not letting the moment get too big for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. I hate comparing to like all-time greats, but he does the mouthpiece thing that Steph Curry does, where it's like you're just chewing on it kind of sideways rather than all the way in the mouth. And it just feels like, oh, you're just out there playing pond hockey, aren't you? Everybody else is really tightened up right now. And you're out there just doing what you like to do. I can't emphasize this enough. If you take 2 guys off the ice, he's scoring, right? When overtime and the space gets a little bit more spaced out, yep, he's scoring. They went 5-on-3. You take 2 guys off the ice, Aho's scoring. Because it's then it's free and he gets to play loose. It's pretty darn impressive. You love that he got the game winner. Celebration was cool, and I'll give you my favorite part about the game winner after we hear from Aho on the emotions of the moment with the game winner.
Felt unreal. Obviously, almost like black out for a second there, and crowd goes nuts, and guys are jumping on you, and it's unreal. I mean, really good feeling.
I have a quick quote here from Aho that I absolutely loved. Right? So the game ends, celebration, woo, handshake line, cool. Then they do the 3 stars, and he gets the post-game interview right there on the ice. He hit him with the Kobe. He said, obviously we're not here to make second round. We're here to go all the way. And then here's the winner. Job is not done. That's the Kobe. Job finished? I don't think so. Job's not finished. That's the Mamba system. He hit him with the Mamba system. And that is, I kid you not, like 12 minutes after he scored the game winner to punch their ticket to the second round. And he was already over making the second round and looking towards locking back in for bigger goals. Sebastian Aho reminded me why he is one of my favorite players on the team. Not just from a talent perspective, but vibes and everything else. Shout out to the top guys playing like top guys. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, I'm going to remind you why Miller Lending should be one of your favorites. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. And the reasoning is simple. No-cost loans are awesome. If you get a no-cost loan from Miller Lending, no closing costs, no third-party fees. And when I say no closing costs, I mean no closing costs. I don't mean that you take the closing costs, you move them to a different place on the contract and give it a different name. Like, oh, that's not a closing cost. That's a nearing the end surcharge. No, we're not wrapping it up and putting it in a different box. The costs are gone. Gordon Miller's been doing them since 1987, and it allows you the flexibility to take advantage of a volatile market. If rates go down, refinance, no costs and fees out of your pocket. If they go down again, do it again. No costs and fees, so you're not shelling out each time. You're just getting the lower monthly payment. If rates go up, just like every other mortgage, you've already locked in your rate, so the rising rates don't affect your monthly payment. It's pretty darn awesome. It's why they should be your favorite, and it's why you should give them a call right now, 919-447-3377. Easy to remember, 919-447-3377, or you can just visit them online. Remember the name, MillerLending.com. That's MillerLending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. When we come up next, we have Adam Gold's take on last night's game in 2 Minutes of Gold. We have the Dean's List, and we will have our conversation with Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, right here on the show. Coming up in the next segment. Don't go anywhere.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all Walgreens and all Lowe's food stores.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply.
Bryan Adams, Roll with the Punches Tour 2025. A night full of hits. Live at Lenovo Center, Raleigh, November 5th. With special guest Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo.
Get tickets Friday, May 2nd at 10 a.m. at livenation.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun-fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
The Body Armor State Games are coming this June to Greensboro. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Athletes of all ages and skills can register now at bodyarmorstategames.org.
Blake to cruise in. Blake, he'll step out in front. Marshall, he can't stop it. Jackson Blake, his first playoff goal. And this place has been amped to 11.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I know Jackson Blake is a rookie, and he just scored, as you heard yesterday, his first playoff goal. I hope he has enough cash to take Jankowski out for just like a quick dinner or a lunch or something.
Oh, right.
Because Jankowski did a lot of the dirty work on that goal that ended up being Blake's playoff first. I wonder if that, I mean, I know
he got an assist on it, so we at least got that.
You didn't not get a stat, but I just like seeing Jankowski be sometimes, like, especially when it's a playoff debut, so much of the attention, or playoff first goal, so much of the attention goes on that. I'm just trying to find ways to make sure Jankowski gets the love there. What didn't even start this series in the lineup?
No.
Now he's out there setting up goals, and crucial goals at that. Goals that were part of some of the most electric hockey of the day. So there you go. That's just we'll keep talking Canes throughout the show. And one more reminder, coming up in about 5 minutes, we have a little Dan Morgan conversation. Panthers GM will be joining the show. Should we hit 2 minutes of gold now? I think we should do that, right? Talking about making sure we cover the Canes. 2 minutes of gold with Adam Gold, recapping the game last night. That includes the goal we were just talking about. Jankowski doing a lot of the work, setting it up. Blake finishing with his playoff first. Here's 2 minutes of gold with Adam Gold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 Hurricane stars and 2 moments of utter brilliance that put Carolina into round 2, and it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Carolina's got 2 bona fide stars on the front end. I'll make that 3. We'll throw Seth Jarvis in. But 2 stars led them to round 2. Everything just hits different when Andrei Svechnikov scores a goal. Carolina down 3-0. into the second period, and there it was. Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, real quick. But then Andrei Svechnikov draws even. See if you can feel this.
Warlock wants to make a move. Up top, Svechnikov, he scores! That's the magic! We're tied at 3!
I'm still feeling the vibrations of that, as I was and still am, from 2 Sebastian Aho power play goals. The first, when it became 4-3 New Jersey, from the right side of the rink.
Jarvis side of the net, they score! Jarvis to Aho! A power play goal! And the Canes have tied it at 4!
And then this one in double overtime to send Carolina to round 2.
Aho wanted to get it to Jarvis off the boards. Back for Gossesbear. Aho! Game over! Series over! Sebastian Aho wins it on the power play in overtime!
Sebastian Aho is now the only Hurricane to end 2 playoff series with overtime game-winning goals. That's it. It's happened 8 times in history. Aho's done it twice. The last one to do it before him was Jesper Fast, who did it, by the way, to beat the Devils 2 years ago in the second round. See if Carolina can do it again, Washington, or Montreal. Pick your poison. Either way, we'll see you in round 2. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Center, sound sleep, sound health. I'm going to get some sound sleep before round 2.
That's 2 minutes of gold with Adam Gold, all about last night's win for the Carolina Hurricanes in Game 5 of the clincher of their first-round Stanley Cup playoff series against the Devils. Dennis, what do we know about potential schedules for the next round? Because there's a little gap here.
There is. A lot of it is going to be contingent on what happens tonight between the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens. That game is up. It's Game 5. It's actually in Washington. Mm-hmm. So if Montreal wins tonight, you're looking at an extension of that series going back up to Montreal in a couple of days. Game 7 of that series, if it gets that far, is scheduled for Sunday in Washington. I think Washington doesn't get to a Game 7 with Montreal. I think if they don't win it today, they win it in a couple of days from now. We might be looking at, depending on how other series end up, we might be looking at a Sunday Game 1. Okay. It's a potential option, a Sunday Game 1 up in Washington, to be determined. But right now, Game 7 between Montreal and Washington, like I said, is scheduled for Sunday. And they already have the arena booked, the NHL does, so that might be the day that they actually play Game 1.
And just to be clear, if you're looking for something to root for in the meantime, we're Montreal fans, just in the interest of tiring out whoever comes out of that series?
We are anti-Washington Capital fans. I don't know if we can root for the Canadiens, but we can root
more
against
brain over
Washington.
Heart. Yeah. Just rooting for a long, drawn-out, exhausting, tiring, physical series. So whoever draws the Canes in the second round is a little more taxed.
Yeah, Washington goes to triple overtime tonight and loses, and they got to go to Montreal and play again in the Bell Center. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
A little extra travel while the Canes get pampered and healthy.
Of course,
that's what we're again, rooting might not have been the right word. That's what we are analytically inclined to desire. That a weird combination of words. It felt weird saying it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. We have a couple really good interviews today. We have Dan Morgan coming up here in just a minute or two, Panthers GM. We also have Taylor Hall from the Canes joining the show at 4:15. We want you to listen to those live, but if you do miss them or you want to pass them around to your friends, they'll be on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Search for it, subscribe while you're there, and like, comment, all those things that you need to do on YouTube. In the meantime, just a little over an hour ago, I was able to catch up with Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, on our Heister Automotive Group hotline. This is how that conversation went. Enjoy. The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline following what I can only imagine was a very exciting and busy last few days. It's the Panthers GM, Dan Morgan, former Panthers Pro Bowler, University of Miami legend. Dan, thank you for taking the time. First of all, I guess I have to give you a little bit of credit. Like, you got me. Were you intentionally throwing smoke screens towards Jalen Walker? Because every insider, every analyst had you guys pegged towards Jalen Walker. We weren't even on the right side of the field for your first round pick.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but T-Mac was definitely a guy that we liked, that we grew very fond of. And I think in those type of situations, you don't want word to get out, and then there's always the potential that somebody could trade up ahead of you and take your guy. So we did want to keep it kind of quiet, but yeah, he was definitely a target for us.
Now, McMillan did kind of hint that maybe Bryce Young stood on the table for him. Did that happen? And if so, how much does the quarterback's input or him loving a particular wide receiver help that wide receiver's chances?
Yeah, I communicate with Bryce, amongst other players all the time. Just talking to Bryce and just, I knew that he knew T-Mac. They were from the same area out in Southern California. They played against each other in high school. And then, it just came to find out that Bryce was throwing with him. That obviously piqued my interest, and, I stayed in contact with Bryce and, picked his brain on what he thought of him. And if if T-Mac was a guy that he'd want to work with. And, obviously Bryce stood on the table for him and loved everything about him. And, that just made me feel even better about, our evaluation here in the building.
What's the difference between maybe just liking a guy and standing on the table? Like, how demonstrative was Bryce in lobbying for his guy?
Bryce, he really doesn't have that like big, like stand on the table type attitude, but, he definitely made it known that like, hey, T-Mac's to me the best receiver in this draft. Like, I would love to work with him. Like, I could tell that he was really excited about him. And in turn, I was excited too. And, to hear Bryce being excited, it just made me even that much more excited. So, it's one of those things where I think, the communication was really good. And, I think I'd be dumb not to listen to our players.
Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, connecting with us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Dan, you go wide receiver, McMillan. We just talked about it in the first. Then back-to-back edge rushers with Skorton and Umamielan. I hope I got that close. Was that part of the trade-off? Was it all right if we're going to pass on the edge rushers in the first, we have to double down in the second and third to make sure you fill that hole in the roster?
Yeah, I think it was just not part of the trade-off, but more part of the strategy. I think when you look at the draft as a whole, wide receiver wasn't the strongest group in the draft, and then you look at outside linebacker, it was pretty stacked with guys pretty much all through the first 4 rounds. So we had a lot of guys over in that column, and then less guys over in the wide receiver column. So strategically, it just so happened that we really liked the top receiver. Felt like if we got him, at 8, which we did, that there's a really good chance that we're gonna be able to potentially double dip at edge rusher. For us, it worked out perfectly. The plan was executed really well, and we couldn't be happier.
Skorton in the second, he's a really interesting prospect. If only for he weighed in at the combine at 257 pounds, and reportedly played up near 285 this year. Is he like a road grading, set the edge run guy, or is he a speed guy off the edge? Did it look like 2 different players? How do you evaluate that when there's a 30-pound difference?
Yeah, so he's played, even at Purdue, he was playing in right around 280, and then at his pro day, he lost weight and looked great going around the bags and real nimble and fast and fluid. But him on tape at 280, the way that he moves, he's got a really nice spin move. He can beat you with power. He can beat you with a variety of moves, and he has a hot motor, which is what we look for as well. So he's a really intriguing prospect that, hey, like once he gets in the building, we'll figure out, what weight we want him at, where we think he may play best, and we'll see where he feels like he plays best as well from a weight perspective. So we'll communicate with him and we'll figure that out. But we got a really good player.
Is there like a a secret phrase or a passcode of some kind? I assume the offense, or a lot of that evaluation leans on Dave Canales, but with your background as a player, the defense, is there something you do in an interview to make sure these guys would fit on one of your defenses? Is there some kind of a tell that they're going to fit in?
No, not really. I think, I think on the offense and defensive side of the ball, like myself and Coach Canales, and the staff as a whole, we're just looking for guys that love to compete, that are passionate about the game, that love the process. So, hey, when we talk to them and we're trying to identify those traits, we have the questions, that we'll ask and then, but at the end of the day, I think that the film's really going to tell you all you need about the guys and how much they love the game. Because if you're not out there and you're not playing with passion, it definitely shows on tape. So I think you just always go back to the tape.
That voice you hear is Dan Morgan, the GM for the Panthers, following the draft, finishing up over the weekend. Dan, looking at draft strategy, right? You brought up that you look at which position is deep and which might be a little bit more shallow, and that informs some of your picks, talking about the edge rushers and receivers earlier on. Pretty much all reports say it was a deep running back draft, and you grabbed one in the fourth in Trevor Etienne. What was it about Trevor that differentiated him from the 16 other backs that were drafted that were still on the board when you made the Etienne pick?
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out first and foremost is just his run style, the burst that he runs with, how good his feet are, how good his vision and acceleration are. And then out of the backfield, his hands are really good. You can flex them out and throw it to him out there, or he can run routes out of the backfield. And then on top of that, which I don't think a lot of people know is, we see him as a dual returner, on special teams for us. So I think that added value really put him over the top for us. And, you're getting a really good runner and you're getting a guy that can do a lot on special teams as well. So that was our reason.
Is that a battle between him and Jimmy Horn Jr.? I assumed he was going to be getting some return looks being drafted right there at the end of the draft.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good competition. Two really talented young rookies that, hey, they're both really competitive. So we'll see how that turns out.
Speaking of competitive, Lathan Ransom, obviously pro-ready, right? Played in a ton of huge games at Ohio State. We're talking about the safety you drafted right there in the middle of the draft. But he seems to, at least from my very limited film watching, seems to fit kind of in the same category as Trayvon Merrick as a physical safety, coming up, making tackles and that sort of thing. Are you still looking for a free safety to pair with them? Obviously, Damani Richardson showed some good things last year, but is that something still on the shopping list?
Yeah, we're definitely going to explore some guys that are still out there. But drafting a guy like Lathan, I just think he brings that demeanor and that mentality that we're looking for, that physical presence out there, that tone setter type mentality. I think a lot of people think that Trayvon, is just really a box guy, but he actually is a really good deep player too, and a guy that we feel like can play, center field, half field, and do a lot of things from the back end as well. So I think that, we have a lot of versatility back there, a lot of guys that are smart and can do a lot of things. But that won't exclude us from trying to add somebody else.
Now, we've already broken down the free agency class 100 different ways, and we're going to do the same with the draft. But the biggest addition could be the re-addition of Derek Brown to your defensive front, right? A healthy Derek Brown. Is everything coming along as scheduled with the big guy in the middle?
Yeah, he's doing great. He's been in the building working his tail off, rehabbing. It's been a long process. I know he's sick of being in the training room, which I don't blame him. But no, he's doing great. He looks great. We're so excited to have him back. It's almost like getting a new player back, or like we signed like a new free agent. So we definitely missed him last year and are looking forward to have him back.
Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, connecting with us here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly. Dan, I have to know this, right? We follow the team as closely as anybody. Does Dave Canales ever get mad? Does he ever get frustrated? Does he ever slam a door, or is he always that optimistic guy that we get to see?
He's always that optimistic guy. And that's what you love about him. He's consistent. He asks his players to be consistent, but he's doing the same thing himself. So that's all you can ask from a head coach and from your leader of the team, is that you're just consistent. You're the same guy every day. And I think the players appreciate that, and I think the staff appreciates that as well, is that you always know who you're getting. So I think it's a great quality of his.
Last question before we let you go, and thank you for the time. I know it's a busy time for you. I've always wondered this. In like the week after the draft or the couple weeks after the draft, is there chatter amongst GMs? Is there like, I wanted that guy, you stole him from me, or whoa, what a reach in the fifth? Like, is there a group chat somewhere where you're kind of roasting or ribbing each other?
I think like with the GMs that you're closer to, you'll definitely have conversations and just kind of like, hey, where'd you have this guy? Oh yeah, I liked your guy that you drafted, or it's kind of fun seeing where other teams have them. So I think if you have a close enough relationship with another GM, it's definitely valuable. Just in your process of things.
Can you maybe like obscure a team name and give us? What was there a player that you got the text about where you drafted and somebody said like, oh, we wanted him 4 picks later? Like, can you give us a little something?
No, I don't really have any examples, but I think you could guess probably some of the GMs that I'm close with around the league.
All right, Dan, we appreciate it. Good luck this offseason. We'll be paying attention to every move, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Once again, that's Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, breaking down the draft and the decisions that went into it. I thought we learned some good stuff there. Bryce Young standing on the table for T-Mac.
Yeah.
Throwing with him already. That sounds like targets to me.
For sure.
I mean, that sounds like trust. The easiest way, if you are a gambler, not saying hey, only gamble what you can lose, all those sorts of things. It is legal in the in the state of North Carolina. If you can get a prop on like over in receptions, and somehow who the quarterback is spending time with, that's a very good way to guess where the targets are going to go.
Oh yeah, hammer the over.
Ask Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp used to just show up when the quarterbacks were the only ones watching film. Wouldn't even really participate. He'd just sit in the room with them and watch film and be a part of the jokes. Sure enough, Triple Crown winner, most receptions, yards, and touchdowns in the entire league. So if T-Mac and Bryce Young are already hanging out, McMillan's going to get the ball. Like, seriously. And also, I thought the draft strategy stuff was interesting.
Yeah.
Where, like, as early as the 8th overall pick, they're already thinking, hey, this is a shallow wide receiver draft. It's a deep edge rusher draft. The top 4 rounds are stacked in edge rusher. We don't see it that way in wide receiver. So they kind of were planning the big picture and then hoping, right? Because if there was a ridiculous run on edge rusher, they might have been left standing there going, we didn't fill one of our main needs because we got a wide receiver.
And they drafted 2 for him.
And then yeah, exactly. Then they end up getting 2 guys who they didn't expect to be there when they drafted them. First round grade on Scorton and Princely in the 3rd, also a player they didn't expect to get at that point. So I like the kind of big overarching draft strategy talk, but I'm also a nerd for that kind of stuff. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Everybody, specifically if you're a hockey fan in the area, listen up. Starting tomorrow, it's back. Listen to the 99.9 The Fan, that's this station, every afternoon during The Drive, that's this show, for your chance to see the Storm Surge in person. It's our annual 10K playoff payout back again for the 2nd round. Try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck and take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. Got to say it with extra emphasis. Listen for the 10K playoff payout, and remember, this is all starting tomorrow. And right about this time, we'll start taking callers, right? We've been kind of honing in on the 4 o'clock time. So make sure you're tuned in tomorrow, right about now, for your chance to become one of the contestants in our 10K playoff payout. And remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealers today.
By the way, we'll qualify 2 people tomorrow.
Okay.
2 people on Friday.
Okay.
We'll have a last chance, 1 more contestant on Monday.
Beautiful. And those contestants, I mean, they'll have a chance at $10,000.
And playoff tickets?
And playoff tickets. Somebody on Twitter today hit me up because obviously there's been a lot of Canes talk and just said they actually misinterpreted something I said. I said, what? They corrected themselves and then said, oh, but since I have your attention, can you get me Canes playoff tickets? And the best thing I could tell them was pay attention this week for the 10K playoff payout because somebody will get playoff tickets out of those contestants, and it might just be you. It's the best I can do. If you want tickets, I can give them to you. You just got to go win them. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Start listening. Make sure you're listening tomorrow about this time. And make sure you're listening at about 4:15 when we connect on the phone lines. Heister Automotive Group Hotline with Taylor Hall. Canes winger will be joining the show on the phone lines coming up in about 20 minutes from now. So just keep it tuned right here. We also have football at 4 coming up. Just heard from Dan Morgan. We dive further into what's left this offseason for the Panthers. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
I don't quite understand the reluctance to boo the New Jersey Devils with Stefan Nason and Brett Pesce on that team. They don't care about you anymore. They want to win a cup just as bad as you want the Canes to make the deep run of the playoffs too. Go ahead and boo them. There is no shame.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
John is in a hot tub on his vacation. He earned 20,000 points by spending $2,000 with his Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card. To be clear, you don't have to vacation in a hot tub to redeem this offer. But John did, because the bubbles make him happy. Right now, you can earn 20,000 points when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. Offer ends January 1st, 2026. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Visit NavyFederal.org for details.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better. Stay fresher under pressure.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Celebrate 50 years of adventure at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Enjoy award-winning performances and European-inspired attractions. Feel the excitement of thrilling rides like the all-new Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge, opening in May. And seasonal events like the Food and Wine Festival, where you can taste, sip, and savor more than 150 flavors from around the world, featuring over 80 new menu items. Only at the world's most beautiful theme park. Save up to 50% on tickets, fun cards, and memberships. Hurry, offer ends soon. Restrictions apply.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, feeling like the summer out there this afternoon. Muggy and hot, a high of 90, which will tie the record for today. Isolated showers and storms from Raleigh northward late afternoon and evening. Some of those during the evening commute and dinner time. Overnight tonight, those dissipate. We'll see a low of 66. Tomorrow is partly cloudy and hot again with a high of 91.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 144 points to 40,671. Market update brought to you by the Body Armor State Games. The Body Armor State Games are coming this June to Greensboro. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Athletes of all ages and skills can register now at bodyarmorstategames.org.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So we just talked with Dan Morgan, right? GM for the Panthers, right before the top of the hour. And he is knocking out some media, right? Obviously, talking with us. Appreciate it. There's really no offseason for these guys anymore. It used to be like the draft, then you hit the beach for 2 or 3 weeks. The Panthers roster's not done, which is both a little daunting because you're like, well, the free agency big fish have been signed. The draft is done. What do you mean it's not done? But it's also kind of exciting, right? Because you can still get better between now and the season starting. And as you get excited for draft picks, you can still get excited for the possibility of moves to come. I still think they need a free safety, which is kind of like – actually, this is a perfect reason as to why it's great to be able to chat with Dan Morgan because I asked him, I said, all right, you draft Latham Ransom, the safety out of Ohio State, mid-round. He is a pro-ready player, played in big games at Ohio State. Obviously, I think they'd be comfortable playing him this year. But on the surface, it does appear as if Trevon Merrig, the big free agency safety that they signed from the Raiders for a bunch of money, and Ransom's skill set does kind of overlap. Like they might both be suited for strong safety rather than free safety, which means they would still need to go find a free safety, even if they fully love Damani Richardson. Damani Richardson was an undrafted free agent last year that was actually waived and put on the practice squad early in the year. So even if you love them, you still want a safety net there, right? You still want somebody that can play free safety if Damani Richardson doesn't blossom the way you expect. And then Dan Morgan hit us with this piece of information during our conversation. You just heard it a few minutes ago. We'll play it for you again when I asked him if he is still looking for a free safety.
We're definitely going to explore some guys that are still out there. But, drafting a guy like Latham, I just think he brings that demeanor and that mentality that we're looking for, that physical presence out there, that tone setter type mentality. I think a lot of people think that Trevon, is just really a box guy, but he actually is a really good deep player too, and a guy that we feel like can play, center field, half field, and do a lot of things from the back end as well. So I think that, we have a lot of versatility back there, a lot of guys that are smart and can do a lot of things. But that won't exclude us from trying to add somebody else.
I love that insight into Merrick. And here's why. That's what the really, really good front offices do. They're able to somehow tell, and I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but I like that they're taking the bet. What really, really good free front offices can do is look at a player and not just judge by the tape what they can do, but also judging on the tape, conversations, looking at the measurables, deciding what's possible for them to do. Right? Think of it like if you bring in a right tackle with the hope and expectation you can play him at left tackle, right? Or looking at somebody's measurables and going, I know he's playing guard, but I think we can play him at tackle. Looking at a linebacker like off ball and saying he might be an edge rusher that nobody else knows about, right? Those sorts of things are wildly valuable because you are able to bring in a player at the price of what everybody has seen him do, and then use them at the way you see the best value. So if Merrick is seen as, right, and this is me going on what I've watched him do with the Raiders, an in-the-box safety, run support, tackler, and you turn him into like 6 interceptions a season because you saw something that projected that ability, well, then you're getting more value because traditionally if you get your hands on the football, if you're good in pass coverage, you're worth more. You're getting more value out of a player you signed in free agency. And you're solving a problem that or actually not even solving it. You are telling me there's not a problem where I thought there was, right? Where I'm going like, there's no free safety. They're going like Merrick. So now Ransom isn't doubling up with what Merrick is doing. He's just playing strong safety if he ends up being the guy at the top of the depth chart. I still think they need depth. I think that can come, but that's easier to find than starters at this point in the offseason. And then this is more intangible, or I don't want to say intangible, but it's less position-oriented and more attribute-oriented. I still think they need to bring in more speed to the offense. Because for all of the good things McMillan does, and I am a fan of Teteroa McMillan, he's about a 4.5, maybe 4.5 something, right? He was the fastest hand timed I saw from his pro day was 4.48, which it's usually a little bit higher than that. If you look at all the receivers, Thielen ran a 4.45, but that was in 2013. Can't imagine you get faster as you get a decade plus older. Coker, 4.57. Renfro, 4.59, who just signed. David Moore, the vet, 4.45, but that was in 2017. Jimmy Horn Jr., their late-round pick, who we brought up with Dan Morgan, 4.46. And then there's Leggett, 4.39. Xavier Leggett right now is the only wide receiver that would be amongst the top 50% of wide receivers at the most recent combine. 39 receivers ran 40s at the NFL Combine this year. The top 20 all ran 4.45 or better. Unless you think Adam Thielen got faster in the last 10 years, only Xavier Leggett is faster, like in the top 50% of wide receivers at the Combine this year, or would be if they were in that draft class. And by the way, Leggett, he's fast, don't get me wrong. 4.39, that's flying. We haven't exactly seen him take the top off of defenses during his rookie year. You could argue injuries. You could argue a bunch of other things. I think they need a little bit of speed. Trevor Etienne brought in as a running back. Again, good insight from Dan Morgan. They see him contributing to the return game as well. I didn't expect that. But he is not the burner that some other running backs were in this draft. I think they could, go. What do we see at this time of year? You see a bunch of guys that played power forward and aren't getting the NBA looks they want. Suddenly they're signing with NFL teams. Panthers. Yep. Yeah. Panthers got one. Granger from Coastal. I think you go raid some track teams. You go find who finished 8th in the conference track 100-meter dash, and you're not, Nike and Puma aren't paying you a bunch of money to go run in the Olympics. Why don't you come over here and see if we can't turn you into a deep threat or turn you into a speed sweep guy? Because I do think the Panthers need a little bit more speed on the offensive side of the ball.
Have you heard of a go route?
Pretend you're in the blocks, but just take your hand off the ground.
Yeah.
And go.
I know Etienne's got that initial burst, like that 10-yard split, but that initial 10-yard burst is where he's the best. And top-end speed is where it lasts.
And similar, like if it were a really fast tight end, I think that could take, that seam can take put safeties into a little bit of a bind. Evans, the tight end they drafted back half of the draft, again, similar. Very fast 10-yard split, not the fastest 40-yard dash. There's, again, everyone outside of Leggett just seems to be missing a little bit of long speed, right? Just a little bit of that, gaining on people from the 10 to the 40 of your 40-yard dash. They've got some explosiveness, some of that initial burst. I just think they need a little bit more speed, and I do think there are players available like that, right? Like I think he actually signed, but like the Marquez Valdez-Scantlings of the world, the guys out there that just make a living being in 3 and 4 wide receiver sets and running the skinny deep post, right? Just right up the bender, right up the hash. Like those guys are available, and you can go find them.
Darius Hayward-Bay was like that at the end of his career. He's special teamer, gunner on punts and all that stuff, but then, 4 wide receivers, you need a go route. Hey, you're 4.27 speed. Use it.
It's why I get mad every time someone goes Cam Newton made the Super Bowl and his best receiver was Ted Ginn. I'm like, Ted Ginn serves a role now. Ted Ginn takes the top off a defense, and it makes everything else open up. Not saying he's the best wide receiver in the world, but don't talk down at him. He's a speed guy. That's what he does. And I think the Panthers could stand to go find one of those. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As we've been teasing throughout the show, one of the goal scorers from last night, Taylor Hall, broke the seal for the Canes, scored the first goal, sparked the comeback, helped them clinch a first-round Stanley Cup playoffs victory, and then signed a contract extension earlier today, 3 years, a little over $3 million per year. And he's joining the show next on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline. We look forward to hearing from Taylor Hall. Stick around for that conversation.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
As leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in the Triangle. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Thursday, June 19th at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Football legends collide at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Inter Miami and FC Porto. Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba taking on Diogo Costa and Rodrigo Mora. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Around the boards for Hall. Hall, side of the net, marks him with the save, rebounds up front, they score! Taylor Hall on the doorstep, knocks it home, and the Canes get an early goal here in the second to make it 3-1.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are expecting to hear from Taylor Hall, one of the Canes of the hour yesterday, scored a goal. Has been a really positive impact on the Canes since showing up as part of that Mikko Rantanen trade, the first one. Kind of underrated part of that deal is they got themselves a former MVP. And it's worked out, like I said, fairly well. In the meantime, if you're a hockey fan in the area, you're excited for Taylor Hall to join the show. You should also, in addition to, be excited that starting tomorrow, it's back. Listen to 99.9 The Fan every afternoon, or tomorrow, Friday, and Monday would be the afternoons you want to tune in for, where we are going to get some contestants. We are going to register some contestants. That is this show tomorrow, 4 o'clock, Friday, 4 o'clock, Monday, 4 o'clock. We'll register 5 total contestants for our next edition of the annual 10K Playoff Payout, where you can try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck, and you can take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. I feel like it should always just be like I gotta pause. I gotta let it sink in. Your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. Listen for the 10K Playoff Payout starting tomorrow at 4. And remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. Before we get Taylor Hall connected up on the phone lines, the bit of news from today is that Taylor signed a 3-year, $9.5 million total value contract extension to remain with the Carolina Hurricanes, which so many of us have been waiting for. Right? It just felt like it made sense from the very beginning. He's been saying that he's interested in staying and wants to put down some roots. And from the opposite side, pretty much everybody has been saying he fits in as a Carolina Hurricane. And with some of the moves they've made recently in the last year or two, that matters, right? It is important. The whole fits in with the Canes thing, right? If you don't, it's obvious. And if you do, it's obvious. Taylor Hall fits, which is why the contract extension announced today is so exciting. Logan Stankoven fits, right? And he got credit for the assist on the Taylor Hall goal yesterday. That matters. And some other guys that they may have traded for and are now playing for other teams in the playoffs, they may not have fit as much, and that matters, right? You got to find the ones that do fit, and that's exactly what they did in Taylor Hall. And I believe he is connecting up on the Heister Automotive Group hotline as we speak. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and keep it tuned right here as we hear from Canes winger, forward Taylor Hall, as we said, former MVP. He's played for a whole bunch of teams, but he's putting down roots with the Carolina Hurricanes, signing a just-announced 3-year, $9.5 million contract extension. Scored the first goal of the game for the Canes yesterday in their Game 5 clincher. Taylor, thank you very much for taking the time to jump on the show with us. I guess it's safe to say you like it here in Carolina, huh? You're choosing to stick around?
Yeah, I do like it a lot. The area's it's great. Our fans are amazing. They gave us a lot of energy last night. When we came out for the second period, they were going nuts, even though we were down 3-0, which was pretty cool, really cool to see. And then obviously being around my teammates for the past couple months and the coaching staff and the organization, it was a no-brainer for me to want to stay, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Any just signed a new contract celebrations that you go to? You've done this a few times in your career.
Nothing planned. I mean, it's playoffs, so you got to treat the body right and do all the right things, especially after a game like that last night. But I don't know, maybe go for a couple beers here in a couple days.
All right. Yeah. I hope you have the time, and I like to hear that you're keeping the body right after a game like that. You get the clincher, and you're a big part of that with the goal that sparked everything. You in Stankoven. What are you seeing from some of the young guys on this team? Right, you were obviously doing a lot of skating with Kotkaniemi and Stankoven. From the outside, it seems like you're seeing the ice kind of the same way and have built chemistry pretty quickly. Am I seeing that right? Are you to the point where maybe you know what they're thinking, almost before they do?
Yeah, me and Stankoven have had some nice plays throughout the series, even though we haven't really been on a line together until last night. He's a very good hockey player. He sees the ice well. He's got good speed and timing, and a really good release when he gets the puck. You know what? Our lines tend to switch frequently, so I'm used to playing with a lot of different players, and the good thing is we have so many different players and skill sets throughout our forward group. Fun no matter who's out there, and we all buy into the way that we have to play, so that makes it easy no matter what line you're on.
Taylor Hall, Canes forward, fresh off of a clinching victory last night for the Canes to punch their ticket to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Connecting with us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Speaking of playing with a lot of different forwards, 7 teams in your career, it seemed, just reading body language and paying attention to interviews and things, you wanted to kind of put down roots in Carolina, and you were excited for that opportunity. The contract extension does that. What have you noticed that's different about the Canes? We hear so much about the culture and the system. Is it that obvious when you join, having been a part of so many different teams?
Yeah, it is. And, I don't want to speak poorly of different places I've been before, but, when you come into a dressing room like we have here in Carolina, that it's different. And I think that it's just unique in the fact that everyone works very hard, but we also have a lot of fun playing. It's okay to come and, work as hard as you can and do all the right things, but it's okay to do that with a smile on your face and have some laughs with your teammates and make it a fun journey. So, I didn't know a lot about, really the Hurricanes or the players. I had never played with anyone on the team besides Orlov for a month in Boston at one time. So I didn't know anyone. And they made me feel welcome. They made me feel like this is a place that I'd love to be around for a bit, and lucky to do so.
In team sports, like you can't hang with everyone all the time. Usually there's little pods of guys that kind of stick together, play cards or whatever. Who have you kind of hit it off with in the last few months?
We at the card table, I play with Svechnikov, Kokeniemi, and Martinuk. Honestly, this is one of those teams. I was on a team like this in Boston where, you could just go to dinner with 5 or 6 random guys, no matter who it is on the team, and you'd have a good time and you'd have good conversations. And this team is like that. Everyone gets along. There's no egos, and we all like to have fun and come out and play as hard as we can the next day. So it's like I said, it's been a really good fit for me, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. But at the same time, this playoff run that we're on right now is something that I don't take for granted, and I'm excited for our next series here.
And that's you brought up twice now the obviously focusing playoffs. You got to lock in. You got to have the main thing be the main thing. This season, little chaotic, right? You were a part of the first Mikko Rantanen, yourself, Natchez, Drury trade, and then there's the trade that brought in Stankoven. How difficult was it to get settled in after all of those moving pieces shifted around the roster? You didn't know who was going to be around. It seemed like everyone's name was in rumors. And then kind of compare that to a playoff run where you can lock in your focus and all those distractions are gone.
Yeah, 100%. There is that, until the trade deadline has passed, there is that little bit of uncertainty that, unless you have a no move clause, that anyone is kind of available. And the Mikko stuff was a bit. I think you saw that we went on a winning streak after that was all done. Nothing against Mikko, but we needed guys that wanted to be here, and we needed guys that were fully bought into the way that we play. And it's a balanced forward group. Obviously, we have some studs in Jarvie and Aho and Svech, but everyone plays a role, and you don't see a lot of guys playing 22, 23, 25 minutes during the regular season. Everyone's bought into what we do, and I think when that was all done with, when the trade deadline had passed, we kind of took off, and that was fun to see. And I think going forward, this is the group that we're going to have, and that's a great thing.
And by the way, I know you're being modest. When you talk about the studs, include yourself in that group. You have the bona fides to be a part of the studs tier. But when it comes to those guys, and looking at someone like Svech, because he had such a good first-round series, what can you pass along to somebody like Andrei Svechnikov, drafted high, ton of physical ability, A lot of pressure on him to perform because of those reasons in big games, which is obviously something you've had to deal with throughout your career. Are you, I don't know how athletes feel about this, the mentor word. Are you comfortable passing along those sort of hard-earned wisdoms that you've learned?
Yeah, I am comfortable doing it. It's different than outsiders would, see it happening. It's not like you sit a guy down and you say, hey, this is what you need to do. But just as you're going along and as you're, maybe playing on a line with them or you're on the bench, and then there's also just the way you are and the way you conduct yourself and the way you prepare for things, how you lead by example. Those are all things that I think I do well. I love to play and I feel like I prepare well. And, staying calm on the bench, being a positive teammate, those are very important things. And as you get older, you realize the value of those more and more. So that's the kind of things that I can bring and what I like to do.
Taylor Hall, Canes forward, fresh off a just-announced 3-year, $9.5 million contract extension to stick around in Carolina. Taylor, just a few more for you. Before you sign a contract, do you have conversations about maybe what your role is with the team, what they expect out of you, and if so, what were those conversations like?
Honestly, no. I mean, I feel like it's self-explanatory, and it's been what my role has been here. A middle six forward that can hop up and play with whoever, and I'm expected to bring speed and tenacity and offensive touch, and I feel like I fit in well here. Right off the bat, the production didn't come initially, but they. Rod kept playing me and he kept pushing me and eventually, things fell into place and I was producing, the team was winning and I give Rod and the coaching staff a lot of credit for how they handled the way that I came in and how they pushed me, but also gave me some space at times. So I like the way we play. I love the way we play and I like my role on the team and that's a big reason as well as other things why I wanted to be here.
And it pays off with a big goal like last night that, takes the lid off the net and it leads to the comeback. What changed between the first period and the second period, if you can articulate that at all, because it was such a stark difference?
I think that we realized that, there's a chance to win this game on home ice and we have to pour everything we can into these last two periods. We didn't think the game was over by any means, but we knew we were going to have to play pretty much perfect from then on. And we kind of did. We put the throttle down and we gave them everything we had. And I think you saw by overtime, they were a bit gassed where we were still good to go. So that was a fun game, honestly, a game that, we didn't win the Stanley Cup by any means last night, but that's a game that I'll remember for a long time. Just the way we came back and the atmosphere in the arena was very cool.
Taylor, thank you for your time. One more here, just because I know fans will get on me if I don't ask it. You said you play cards with KK, Svetch, and Martinook. There's a ton of fans that would love to sit at that table. Who's the card shark? Who's winning most? Give us the scouting report.
So it's a game that I'd never played before I got to Carolina, and I had to learn it. So I'll give myself the worst player. I'm still learning a bit, but I'm on the rise in the rankings right now. So I'll give Marty number 1 because he's my teammate in this game, and I'll go KK number 2, Svetch 3, and me 4. But I'm coming for these guys. It's a lot of fun on the plane. We have some great times, and those are times you'll remember a lot when you're done playing. But yeah, a lot of fun.
What game is it?
It's a French-Canadian game. It's called Super Talk. It's a different version of the game Sorry, where you move pegs around according to cards that you have. It's a lot of fun, but hard to learn.
All right. I will check it out. I've never heard of it. Play games like the Canes play. Taylor, we appreciate you for taking the time. Congratulations on the contract, the first round victory, and good luck the rest of the postseason.
All right, thank you.
Once again, Taylor Hall, Canes forward, newly inked 3-year extension to stick around in Carolina, and apparently a riser in the Super Talk board game rankings.
I need to look at this game.
I'm 100% going to do that.
I'm going to get research on that.
All right. We'll get stats and research on it. That right. I mean, just in a quick reaction to Taylor joining us, it fits, right? Fits. It's. I don't. And even what he said about Mikko Rantanen, and it was very clear, not to bash Mikko, not to bash former teams that he's been a part of, but there is a player that fits and a culture that fits with players that you need to link up here in Carolina. And when you get the match right, I think it's obvious. And you talk with Taylor Hall there, and you talk with Rod, or you talk with Eric Tulsky or other of the kind of architects of the Canes, you go, oh yeah, that match makes sense right there. It's like when two people in your friend group start dating and you've been in the friend group for like 5 years. And you're like, why did we never think y'all two should get together? Because it's pretty darn obvious. Taylor Hall and the Canes, pretty darn obvious, and I'm glad that they were able to get together on a contract extension. Dennis is talking, but he's got to turn his mic on.
Yeah, all right. I actually turned on a different mic. That's totally fine. Super Talk, I got research on this.
Okay.
Super Talk, TOCK, is a board game where players race their tokens around a track, attempting to be the first to get all their tokens in their home zone, their home zone. Instead of dice, players use a deck of cards to move their tokens. Certain cards have special functions, adding strategy and unexpected twists to the game.
Interesting.
I want to play it. I want to try it. I love board games.
I was going to say, we got to find it. There is BoardGameGeek.com, 2 to 4 players. It does not on BoardGameGeek.com. It does not have AI ranking.
That's fine. I don't care.
But hey, I believe Taylor Hall and Martin Nook and KK and Svetch more than I believe BoardGameGeek.com when it comes to game recommendations.
Right?
That, by the way, maybe if you could find a 5-player game and mix in Jarvie, I think that might be the top draft picks for like who fans would love to play a board game with. But that's a pretty strong little group of 4 right there. Pretty strong group of 4. And it's Martin Nook would be the top seed. Just seems like he wouldn't lose it much as far as table games and all that sort of thing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's hit a cup check-ins, shall we? Cup check-in with Adam Gold, presented by Carolina Ale House, as they might be going back on the road to start round number 2. Always remember that you can go to Carolina Ale House in Cary for away game watch parties throughout the playoffs. Cup check-in served up by Carolina Ale House. Adam Gold checked in with Canes legend Chad LaRose. Chad LaRose is the check-in for today. Here's what that conversation sounded like.
Were you still positive it was going to be a good outcome 10 minutes into the game?
Oh, man. I mean, they're just relentless, so I knew it wasn't going to – I knew the tables would turn a little. I didn't think they'd go that quick. I thought it would be maybe we'd be down by 1, maybe 2 to start the third period, and then we'd see what happens. But, yeah, man, what a game. I texted Roddy after the game, and he got back to me about 1 in the morning. And, yeah, I was somebody asked me after the game, hey, you going to bed? And I was like, yeah, right. I was like, there ain't no way I'm falling asleep, dude. So, yeah, awesome game, man. And, yeah, I mean, even when they came out and scored those 3 goals and the place was just rocking, then they scored. New Jersey had a really nice goal, Heischer.
Yeah.
Their 4th goal, and, I mean, all they were doing was delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, 3 goals inside of 5 minutes and 40 seconds. I know the goals came less than 4 minutes apart once Carolina got the 1. But
Yep.
Talk to me about the momentum of a game, and you've felt it before. We've talked about 2009 when was it Jussi Jokinen scored to tie it, but that momentum is still real. Even though you guys were on the road then, that momentum is still real within a game where everybody is going just that much faster. Is that what happened in the beginning of the second period?
So for New Jersey's aspect, right, you're up 3-0, and you don't even want Carolina to score, because once they scored that first goal, and now for Carolina, they're blood in the water.
Yeah,
it was all, they were just running rampant. For the New Jersey sense, now you're on your heels. You're like, man, our season, they had not another tomorrow. Kind of like Game 7, but in Game 7, each team could have won for us, right? Like somebody was moving on. So it was that momentum yesterday was, it just shows that they just got to their game, and there was blood in the water, and you could feel it. And even that fourth goal, like I said, by New Jersey, I had zero doubts still. I was like, there's no chance. It does not hurt to be at Lenovo Arena with the Caniacs, man, because that building and that momentum's, that's real stuff right there.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Once again, that was the Cup check-in with Adam Gold, presented by Carolina Ale House. He was checking in with Chad LaRose, talking Canes hockey on that one, as all of the Cup check-ins are. And we'll have a whole bunch of them now that the Canes have advanced to the second round. Punched their ticket yesterday. I believe they were the first team to punch their ticket to the second round.
They are.
There you go. It's pretty darn cool. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We missed it yesterday. We need to get to it today because I need one more chance to make a comeback. Let's hit the ladder challenge. All right. Dennis, tell me you lost your last bet.
I would, but that'd be lying.
Yeah,
that'd be incorrect.
I'm just going to say it, right? Let me get mine out of the way because it's not fun. I've completely lost the touch on the ladder challenge. It is, I actually think, more impressive how much I've been wrong in the ladder challenge in the month of April than it was when we were going entire months without getting them wrong. We were 8-timesing our money, and that was less impressive than the amount of times I've lost this year. A couple of nights ago, I had Steph Curry to get 30 or more points, plus rebounds, plus assists.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, he was the leading scorer in the postseason at the time I placed this bet by a bunch, by like 25, in more than anyone else in the postseason. He didn't get to 30. Didn't even really get close. In a game they won, by the way. So after starting that bet with $10 and restarting from getting one wrong before, I am back down to $10 to start over again, and I'm going full Costanza. It is a dire situation gamblers know about, where George Costanza started basically fading himself. Whatever he was going to do, he would do the opposite, and then good things would happen, right? Because I always make wrong decisions, Jerry. So if he was gonna say yes to his boss, he said no to his boss. If he was going to not ask a woman out, he asked the woman out, and it was just always that for an episode. So I was wrong on Steph Curry. One thing I usually don't do is I go right back to a similar bet with the same person. So because I don't usually do that, I am actively doing that today. Steph Curry, 3 or more threes versus the Rockets tonight. Minus 550 would turn my $10 into $11.81, although that doesn't matter because if I win, Dennis will have lost, and this is the last one of the month. So all I need to do is win. Go ahead and give me Steph Curry 3 or more threes.
Okay. That feels like a safe pick.
Full Costanza.
Feels like a safe pick.
I'm a marine biologist. That's all I got.
Okay. What are the odds on that?
Minus 550.
Minus 550? Okay. So I am up to $21.84. Last time we did a ladder challenge, I had the Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars to combine for over 3.5 goals. They combined for 8. Felt good about that one. So I'm actually going to go with what works for me, Tim. Montreal Canadiens, Washington Capitals tonight. Over 3.5 goals. It's a minus 800. So that put me at $24.57 when I win, and will also put me up 4 months to 2. Actually, 4 months. Yeah, 4 months to 2.
Perhaps. But for right now, the trophy stays here.
It is.
And if there's a wild, postseason hockey, betting on postseason hockey, crazier things have happened.
Here's the thing. If it's Montreal that falls behind, they're going to get desperate, obviously, to try and tie the game. You might look at multiple empty net goals.
Ooh.
They're facing elimination. Don't be shocked.
I absolutely love when a bet comes down to don't forget about multiple empty netters.
Hey, that's all you need.
Svech ain't playing in that game.
It's fine. If I get
Empty
to
net
2-1 by the end of the second period, I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Maybe it's 0-0 at the end of the second period.
You know what? I've seen that before and still got past 4 goals.
I just need you to lose, and I need Steph to knock down some threes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's hit to a feedback frenzy. We'll read some of your comments online. If you want, we'll even open up the phone lines. If you have some reactions to last night's Canes game, 919-860-5326. We'll take a couple of those if you are out there and want to talk Canes. Heister Automotive Group hotline, open, 919-860-5326. It is a feedback frenzy coming up next.
Let's go! It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, you'll get the Giants goal!
Let's go, Canes!
Kochetkov, stop! It's on the goal line behind him! He does a snow angel in the paint!
Go, Canes!
Playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we wanna be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
John is in a hot tub on his vacation. He earned 20,000 points by spending $2,000 with his Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card. To be clear, you don't have to vacation in a hot tub to redeem this offer. But John did, because the bubbles make him happy. Right now, you can earn 20,000 points when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. Offer ends January 1st, 2026. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Visit NavyFederal.org for details.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50 at any size Sprite for $1.49. Price of participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The Body Armor State Games are coming this June to Greensboro. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Athletes of all ages and skills can register now at bodyarmorstategames.org.
Gostisbehere looking for a lane. Jarvis thought about teeing it up. Jarvis, side of the net, they score! Jarvis to Aho! A power play goal! And the Canes have tied it at 4!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you want to talk Canes, Heister Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326. 5326. Just a quick little feedback frenzy where we'll open up the phone lines, 919-860-5326. We'll also do the traditional feedback frenzy thing where Dennis peruses all the comments from YouTube, social media, every different form of feedback we get from the listeners. And the better comments can jump up on the show, and we'll react to those. Dennis, what do you have for us?
All right, so earlier today we had a conversation about the Carolina Hurricanes and winning. Big time thing earlier today. So we actually had some people in our YouTube comments earlier today. For example, Comebread said, while Kochetkov started a bit rough, I think he again settled in well. While Anderson is currently the better goalie, I think Kochetkov has good potential going into next season.
Yes. First of all, I don't want to. And this is, I have to stop myself sometimes, so I'm not like talking to you like I don't talk to myself in my own head. Voices. I'm not ready to talk about next year yet. I'm still right here in this season. How much does Pyotr Kochetkov have to play moving forward? How much does he get to play moving forward? How well does he play in those opportunities? How much is Freddie healthy and available? Those are the conversations I want to have. There's no doubt in my mind Pyotr Kochetkov is an NHL goalie. It's what's the role, right? Is he a number 2? Is he a number 1 that can win games for you? Does he use games like last night to level up? That's what I want to get into. But you know, as far as his role on the team moving forward, I think they're going to explore improving goalie in the offseason, like they have done the past few off seasons, but you know, haven't really pulled the trigger on any big moves. I don't think we're there yet though. There's still a second round series and hopefully more coming down the pipe.
All right, first one. Actually, this next one here comes from Matt Morrison, who we actually met at the Canes game last week. Pumped to hear that Taylor Hall is signed, but also this one comes from Comebread as a response. With Hall being re-signed, will there be room to bring up Bradley Nadeau next season? I assume the Canes will be big game hunting for a top forward in free agency.
All right, so I guess we're talking about next season, which is good. We have a little bit of break. Maybe we'll allow it for the next couple of days before we lock back in for the second round. Yeah, I mean, if Bradley Nadeau, which, by the way, he's, the third AHL player as a teenager to score 30 or more goals ever? If he keeps showing that he's a top-level scorer, make room. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to bench Taylor Hall. There's other options as far as guys that can move to the bench. And, you know, there's, go best player available until you start getting closer to the next year's, start, right? You can always trade players. You can always move people. You can always get creative with the roster. If you have the opportunity to bring in and keep around a player like Taylor Hall, who's playing the way he's playing, you do that. And if you have an opportunity to bring up a guy like Bradley Nadeau, if he's shown you that he can do the things you want to do, both sides of the ice, 200 feet of hockey, all those things, in addition to the obvious scoring snap that he has, then you do that too. Matter of fact, I'll take you one further. I'd love to see him on a line. I'd love to see Nadeau and Hall sharing ice time, because who better for Nadeau to learn from than Taylor Hall?
Yeah.
You just heard Taylor Hall. We were talking about some of the other young guys on the team and mentoring, and he goes like, well, it's not like you sit him down and you say, here's what I've learned. But when you're on the same line, when you are chatting, when you see something, you just bring it to their attention. I would love for Taylor Hall to do that with Bradley Nadeau. So there's a whole bunch of reasons that I would not stall or pause before signing Taylor Hall, because I know that I have a forward I like in the AHL. There's a lot of other things that can happen to make both of those accommodating.
And mentoring could also just be the leadership by example. Like, hey, this is how I train. This is how I take care of my body in the off season. This is what I do between games to get ready from one game to the next. It's those little kinds of things that, hey, guys, remember, I was an MVP and a number 1 overall pick. Someone pretty good to learn from, and also a guy who clearly is unselfish and willing to accept a role on a team.
Yep, I'm with it on it all. I don't think there's a negative to having Taylor Hall on your roster. Yes, you have to give him a roster spot. I don't think that's a negative.
Oh, no.
I think you find a way. And what is it, less than $3.2 million a year?
Yeah, it's 3.16 repeating.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Great deal. Love to see it. Love to see it for both guys. Love seeing that he's sticking around. All right, let's actually shift gears over to the Carolina Panthers. We had a conversation yesterday. We've had multiple conversations about the identity of the Panthers team.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually mentioned about, hey, defense seems like they're getting some guys that are wanting and willing to take your head off.
Mm-hmm.
This actually comes from Ken Shine Light.
All right.
Ken Shine says, this defensive identity was ours for a long time. We lost it, but it was hard. But it was a hard-hitting, angry style defense from the start. Dan Morgan remembers.
Dan Morgan remembers. Dan Morgan, you could argue, laid some foundational pieces of that reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but yes, all the way up through like the Kuechly, Thomas Davis, yes, the Panthers. I mean, they're like what their hashtag is keep pounding, right? And I know there's multiple different meanings behind that on and off the field, but yeah, they've built in that way many times. I do think it's harder to be that team in modern NFL though. Right? It's much more difficult to be a knock your head off bully defense in modern NFL because the rules are changing. You can't really intimidate receivers from going over the middle saying I'm going to break your ribs because as soon as you do, they say that the receiver was defenseless and throw a flag. So there's other ways you have to be a physical team. It's yes, the legacy Panthers reputation, but it's also something new in a different era.
Also, we've had conversations about comparing the culture of the Carolina Hurricanes and the culture of the Carolina Panthers and how the Panthers are trying to be kind of built like what the Canes have done over the last 7 years. This Rory Blake says this on our YouTube chat. He said, Canes have a tremendous culture. Looking for that in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
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 Looking for that in Charlotte.
I mean, the funny part is we do that, and we're on the Canes. Like, we have up close and personal on the Canes. So the reason why it's such a good comparison, and we bring this up, we brought it up more often recently than we had been, right? Both David Tepper, who bought the Panthers, and Tom Dundon, who bought the Canes, did so around the same time, within half a year of each other. So it is very easy to compare how those builds have taken place since new ownership took over. If you're in Charlotte, there probably is some like real grass is greener on the other side stuff for a professional franchise in Raleigh that is outperforming really all of the professional sports in Charlotte, from Hornets, Panthers, the soccer club up there. There's a lot going on. So the Canes definitely have some bragging rights in state for sure. But I'll give you this: Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, who actually joined our show earlier today, was on with McAfee, and he argued that David Tepper gets a bad rap. He said he's actually a cool guy to hang out with. You can laugh with him, and he just wants to win. So, is that a employee doing what he has to do for office politics to his boss, or is it a guy being honest? You can decide, but he did argue that Tepper's better than his public reputation says.
Okay. All right, let's actually go to the actual NFL draft. We talked about this the other day. One conversation we had was Trevor Etienne getting drafted as opposed to some of the other guys. This one actually comes from Javier Gonzalez. He said, great point about Trevor Etienne. How in the world did they pass on Dylan Sampson and draft Etienne instead?
I'll do you one better or one different. First of all, if I am complaining, if the biggest thing that I am kind of nitpicking your franchise about after a draft is, I really wish you would have picked a different running back with your 4th round pick. We're doing all right. Like we're seeing things mostly the same. I didn't love Trevor Etienne, but if I were to pivot, I don't think I'd go Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson on tape, I don't know if I'm the only one that sees this, has a hard time changing direction. A lot of choppy feet. Instead of like one cut plant, it's like bop, 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 bop. And that tells everybody what you're doing. It's hard to juke somebody out when 4 steps before they're like, oh, you're going to change direction. So that wouldn't be the guy I would go with. I actually liked Woody Marks, who went 2 picks later to the Texans. I think he's a really good pass catcher. And I also think he's much quicker, like lateral agility as far as making guys miss. He's older, though, so if you don't like a 24-year-old running back, maybe not. DJ Giddens was people were high on. Ollie Gordon, if you think you can get back to 2023 Ollie Gordon. There are a bunch of running backs that were interesting down there. Sampson I probably would have liked over Etienne, though. I'll give you that much. Do we have any more? I know we're up against it. Do we have time for one more?
Let's see if we can actually squeeze in here one more real fast. Actually, this one comes from I'm a Daydream. I'm a Daydream. Dan didn't miss at all with the Travis Etienne. Initially, I didn't understand, but he's a versatile player, not only on the field, but for roster construction in general. He can sit behind Chuba and Dowdle, play situationally. He's also the only natural pass catcher we have in the backfield as well. So like a day, like different perspective.
Yep, and we asked Dan Morgan about that exact pick. He brought up his return ability, which is something I did not see for Trevor Etienne. I think as soon as they took Horn Jr., the wide receiver out of Colorado, was that a 7th rounder? I think it was 7th round. 6th rounder. Oh, it was their last pick, but it was in the 6th round. As soon as they took him, I went, all right, there's your returner. And I think I turned my brain off to anyone else having the opportunity to return kicks. It's really tough for drafting a running back this year because you probably are still hoping Brooks is going to come back next year and be really good. Used a 2nd-round pick on him last year. So Chuba's not going anywhere, at least not for a couple years. Brooks is coming back. So
Dowdle's only on a 1-year deal.
True. But it's like you don't draft a 3rd-string running back long-term in the 4th round unless, hey, maybe he's our 3rd-string running back, but he's our punt and kick returner, right? And then that gives him some other role once everybody else gets healthy. It's an interesting, the Brooks injury really threw a lot of stuff into a bit of an upheaval. But again, I don't. It's a point of preference, right? If we go to a restaurant, there's a reason why they give us a menu, right? Because you're going to pick something other than me. On the running back menu, Etienne wouldn't have been my choice. Might be your go-to order. Might be exactly what you're looking for, just not mine. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to everybody that interacts with the show on YouTube. By the way, subscribe. Just search for us, 99.9 The Fan. We live stream every episode of this show. There's videos, the interviews, all of it, all on 99.9 The Fan. So thank you to everybody that interacts there, social media, everywhere else, and everybody that stopped out. We should do a dramatic thank you for that. For Canes home playoff games, we're out on the plaza. Love interacting with everybody. People coming up saying they listen, fist bump, handshake, whatever it is. You guys are the real MVP, as Kevin Durant would say. The starting 5 is coming up next. An extension for the Canes, a defensive end for the Wolfpack, and more. Don't go anywhere.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
A record in sports that would be a big deal if it was broken and we'd all be in on it is 100 points in a game in the NBA.
Oh, yeah, big time.
If I told you within the next 20 years in the NBA, somebody would score 101 points in one game.
I could see it. Couldn't you see a team just waving the white flag and another team taking advantage of that?
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken. With Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, "That'd be great"? Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a two-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We're going to watch for a few spotty showers and storms this evening through about midnight. 66 the low, partly cloudy skies for your Thursday. It's hot again. It's breezy. A 20% chance for a storm with a high around 90 degrees.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell up 141 points to 40,669. Market update brought to you by the Body Armor State Games. The Body Armor State Games are coming this June to Greensboro. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Athletes of all ages and skills can register now at bodyarmorstategames.org.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Today was a fun day, and we're still cruising on the show. So let's go ahead and jump into the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Side of the net. Marks him with the same rebound up front. They score! Taylor Hall on the doorstep. Knocks it home. And the Canes get an early goal here in the second to make it 3-1.
That's what it sounded like yesterday. It was the goal that sparked the comeback. From down 3-0 to tied 3-3 to down 4-3 to tied 4-4 to second overtime to the Canes win. And that goal that sparked the comeback was scored by Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall had back-to-back good days after winning the game yesterday. Today, 3-year, $9.5 million contract extension to remain a Carolina Hurricane was signed and announced. He joined this show earlier today. We talked to him about the decision to stick around, Canes culture, and much more. Here's part of that combo.
I don't want to speak poorly of different places I've been before, but when you come into a dressing room like we have here in Carolina, you know that it's different, and I think that it's just unique in the fact that everyone works very hard, but we also have a lot of fun playing. It's okay to come and work as hard as you can and do all the right things, but it's okay to do that with a smile on your face and have some laughs with your teammates and make it a fun journey. So, I didn't know a lot about, really the Hurricanes or the players. I had never played with anyone on the team besides Orloff for a month in Boston at one time. So I didn't know anyone And they made me feel welcome. They made me feel like this is a place that I'd love to be around for a bit, and lucky to do so.
Do you know what's? I didn't realize that, because it does seem like Taylor Hall has played with like 3 or 4 guys on every team in the NHL at some point. He's played on 7 teams. He's been in the league a while. I remember during the trade happens, right? Mikko Rantanen, everybody's talking about it because that's the Mikko Rantanen acquisition trade for the Canes is what also brought Taylor Hall over to the Canes. When Taylor Hall's like introduction to the Canes happened, he was already talking about how he was excited to play for him and the culture and the system and all the respect he had. That's even cooler, knowing he didn't really know anybody in the building. It's just what is known about the Carolina Hurricanes. It seemed like a place that he would want to play, and it's fit,
It just goes to show you the reputation that the Canes have around the league.
Exactly. And when you play against them, you pick up that sort of thing,
yeah.
right? And that should have been the question, right? And he was great and answered all the questions we had. We had some fun. I'm sure you'll be able to hear that interview on YouTube in the not-too-distant future. But the question should have been, like, did you just sign this 3-year contract extension just so you don't have to face Slavin? Like, how much of it just went into you were tired of being defended by the Carolina Hurricanes, and now you don't have to deal with that. But it is – here's the thing with Taylor Hall, and I think it showed in the interview earlier today. Bringing him in, you're not just bringing on, as he described his role, right, a middle 6 wing that can bring speed and can play with anybody. Like, that's how he kind of saw his role. You're not just bringing in that. You're bringing in somebody that is established, that carries a little bit of gravitas, right? First overall pick, MVP. People will listen when he speaks, and you can trust him to say the right thing. I think it's a really good signing for the Canes. And at 3 years, $9.5 million, it's a steal at a bigger price. Like you're getting something of value there. And you don't want to go this far, right? I don't even like talking about next year when you're in the postseason. But, Dennis, hat tip to you. You were the one that pointed out it's a movable deal if you want to later on in the contract.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about it because I don't want to think about him leaving already. But
I don't.
It is it's something you have to worry about as a GM, right? If things unexpectedly happen, what's our options? It gives you options. That is number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is 3rd of the night.
NC State Wolfpack. Football landed a commitment from Texas Tech transfer edge rusher Joseph Adadare. All right. His agent told On3 Sports he is a former 4-star recruit. 44 career tackles, 7.5 for a loss during his time at Texas Tech. Also threw in a couple of sacks, pair of defended passes in 2 seasons with Texas Tech. Do you know what is absolutely absurd? How, and this is, I think, by their choice. I'm not saying they aren't doing anything. How radio silent the NC State football program has been. Because Will Wade in the basketball program, loud, right? Will Wade is trying to make noise. I saw a video today of he's literally calling season ticket holders that haven't renewed yet, trying to renew their tickets. Will Wade is, and they're putting that video out on social media. The NC State basketball program trying to make noise. You can't go more than like 2 link clicks on the internet in any direction without seeing something about UNC football coach Bill Belichick. And I'm not saying it has to do anything with football. His girlfriend, his book, his media this, the interview that. You're seeing everything. Meanwhile, State, a little more quiet. Didn't have anybody watching the spring game, right? Kind of chose to use the money to retain guys rather than last year. Because last year, what were we talking about? They were winning the transfer portal. Grayson McCall, Zeke Correll, Noah Rogers, like just bing, bang, boom, everything, flash, sizzle, expectations raising. This year, kind of quiet, to the point where you get a former 4-star edge commitment out of the transfer portal, and that's solid. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not upping your hype expectations at all, but I'm also saying, like, good job, and then realizing, wow, you've been laying low, haven't you? You've been laying in the weeds, waiting in the wings. Could be good, right? Little stealth tactics from Dave Doran. Sneak up on everybody.
Well, you got to think last year, transfer portal, it was getting Grayson McCall. It was getting all these other guys. And there's a lot of pomp and circumstance around it. And then maybe, hey, you know what? Let's just lay it low, focus on us, do our thing.
Let everybody else be loud. And we'll be like Rocky in Russia. Right? We got to disconnect. Go run with a log on our back up a snowy mountain. Come back a different fighter. That's number 4. Let's hit number 3.
The emotions of the game just got excited there. But I talked with him. I'll talk with Giannis eventually about it. Just, I don't think that my pops was in the right at all there. And unfortunate, what happened in the end there. But, this series was a lot of war of words, a lot of war of antics, a lot of stuff going back and forth. And that's just part of, this rivalry and what we've built here over the last couple of years. And
that was Tyrese Halliburton, who shouldn't have had to have a downer of a press conference, because he hit a game winner that I believe ended the series. The Pacers beat the Bucks, eliminate Giannis Antetokounmpo from the postseason, and instead his dad made one of the all-time wild moves. So Tyrese Halliburton's dad. Tyrese Halliburton's an all-NBA player, max contract guy. Tyrese Halliburton's dad, after the game winner, ran onto the floor and kind of got in the face of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Giannis, I think, he reacted, don't get me wrong. He got face-to-face, looked down on him, had some words with Tyrese Halliburton's dad, who I don't think he knew was Tyrese Halliburton's dad at the time. He just thought it was a fan that ran out and got in his face. Giannis didn't hit him, didn't push him, didn't shove him, didn't do any of that kind of stuff, which I think a lot of players would have. And it just got me thinking, right? Because that's a first-round series coming to a close on a dramatic kind of buzzer-beater walk-off bucket. And then the shooters, the person that made the game winner, his parents immediately ran onto the field of competition, the court of competition, and got into the face of an opposing team player. We also just watched here in Raleigh a first-round series ended on a game winner between two teams, right? Same conference, have a history, all that sort of thing. I don't know why basketball didn't make this out to be something way more crazy. Can you imagine if, maybe it's because there's glass, if Sebastian Aho's dad jumped out of his seat, ran onto the ice, and got in the face of, Timo Meyer last night after
Brett Pesci or somebody?
Yeah. Any of them, like Nico Hischier, and any of them, and got in the face and started yelling things at a Devils player because Aho hit a game winner? Can you imagine what that would turn into? It would not be good for Papa Aho. That is one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and it can happen. I know family is different, right? Family of players is different. But you are a fan at the game. You're not part of the team. You can get to the family only section or whatever it is. I don't know. There's I don't know who started it. It's something in the internet sports world that argues for the one fight pass, which is, again, not my idea, not taking credit for it. Every professional athlete gets every calendar year one pass where they get to give it to the referee and fight a fan. They go hey, here's my pass. Guy in the red shirt over there, come on down. And with the idea being that it almost never gets used, but then fans act civil because they know there's the off chance that they might have to go settle things, right? It's more of a preventative measure than a used measure in theory. if Giannis Antetokounmpo wanted to use his pass right there and say, that guy ends up being Tyrese Halliburton's dad, I would have said, that's probably a good choice. Probably a good choice. Good usage of your pass. Because also the reason why players wouldn't want to use it is because once you use it, you have to wait till the next calendar year. So once you use your pass, then you're the guy that's everybody's just picking on because they know there's nothing you can do about it. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us.
You know, Bryce, he really doesn't have that big stand on the table type attitude, but he definitely made it known that hey, T-Mac's to me the best receiver in this draft. I would love to work with him. I could tell that he was really excited about him. And in turn I was excited too, and to hear Bryce being excited, it just made me even that much more excited. So it's one of those things where I think the communication was really good, and I think I'd be dumb not to listen to our players.
That was Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, general manager, earlier today on this very program. He joined us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, and I asked him about Bryce Young. The rumor is he stood on the table for Tetaroa McMillan, and obviously metaphorically, but confirmed. Right? Bryce Young was arguing for his guy, and it turns out they've been working out together. They're from the same area of California where they played high school, and it adds to one of our takeaways from Monday's show. There ain't no excuse for Bryce Young not being dramatically improved this season. Right, they had a lot of needs on defense, and they did acknowledge them, and they did draft to fix some of them, and they did spend free agency money to fix some of them on defense, but they still had a lot of needs on defense, and they picked a wide receiver. And last offseason, the biggest thing they did was build up the offensive line. All 5 starters returned. Chuba Hubbard, they paid him in the middle of last offseason because he's making a good play. Bryce Young, they just listened to you. You said this guy's the best wide receiver in the draft. They said, okay, if he's there at 8. And then they drafted him. There's no excuse for Bryce Young this year. Second year in the offense, there's no excuse for Bryce Young this year, which I think is actually really fun. It's really liberating, right? We get to watch, and we don't need to have the actuallys. Because that's all we've had the last 2 years with Bryce Young, right?
Yeah.
When he struggles, actually, the line didn't give him any time, and he was running for his life. Well, actually, the receivers weren't open. Where'd you want him to throw it? Well, actually, he's on his 4th play caller switch of his rookie year. Actually.
Hey, now he has a rookie head coach. And
this year, it's no, actually. Is the offense above average in the NFL? Is the passing offense holding its own and keeping defenses honest? Is everything working? Because if not, what else do you want them to do? 2 straight years of first-round wide receivers. What else do you want them to do? Other notes from the Dan Morgan conversation. The Nick Scorton conversation. He second-round edge rusher out of Texas A&M. I asked him about the weight, right? Because Nick Scorton did it right, if you ask me. He played at Texas A&M. He was listed at 285 pounds and looked it, right? So he got to go out on game day and push people around with 285 pounds of weight to throw around. Then he lost darn near 30 pounds, went to the combine, weighed in at 257, went to the pro day and did all the drills. So now his tape has somebody that's as powerful as 285 pounds, and his 40-yard dash time and shuttles were run by somebody that's 257 pounds. That's how you make yourself, you have your cake and eat it too. Or actually, when you're losing the weight, you probably don't eat much cake. But you get what I'm saying. So I asked Dan Morgan, what is he? Is he a 285-pound edge setter in the run game? Or is he a 257-pound speed rusher getting after the quarterback? And this is what Dan had to say about Scorton.
He's played, even at Purdue, he was playing in right around 280. And then at his pro day, he lost weight and looked great going around the bags and real nimble and fast and fluid. But him on tape at 280, the way that he moves, He's got a really nice spin move. He can beat you with power. He can beat you with a variety of moves, and he has a hot motor, which is what we look for as well. So he's a really intriguing prospect that, hey, like once he gets in the building, we'll figure out, what weight we want him at, where we think he may play best, and we'll see where he feels like he plays best as well.
I love that they're still figuring it out. They're like, I don't know. He looks explosive at 257. He looked powerful at 285. We'll find the number. We want the player.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, when watching clips of him, it's like, oh man, like you see the speed and you see the power.
You see the spin move. He brought it up.
Yeah,
the spin move is legit.
Now it's like, okay, you drop the weight. How does that negatively impact you in some areas, but positively impact you in others? What's the balance? What's the give and take with it?
I think you could the good news is, as long as he's willing, and I assume he is, you can always ask him to get back to 280 if you're like, hey, man, we drafted you for the tape. Or you can always say, let's try 274, right? Like, let's see if we can't get you keeping the tenths of a second off your 40 and adding some of the weight to throw around, and let's see what how that feels. I think it's a really interesting prospect. And the fact that he did it so quickly, he might be one of those guys that can just put it on, take it off, kind of, at will.
Well, he is still 20 years old. You can do that when you're that young.
Yeah. I had a hard time putting on weight at that point in time. But I was never anywhere near 250, so not that powerful either. Basically, Dan Morgan, I think, the draft, we have already graded it, although that's kind of ridiculous, but I give it a B+. Dennis, I think you were somewhere in the A's.
A-.
A-. We both like the draft. We could nitpick, which is, what you do. But I actually thought Dan explained and justified really well in our conversation. Like the reasons he gave for the picks that I was a little confused about, I might not agree with the reasoning, but I understood the logic. It was like, oh, all right, well, that's okay. Good answer, right? Like, I wanted to be full Family Feud. Good answer. What about ETN also returns kicks? Survey says good answer. I was pleased. Even the stuff I didn't agree with, I understood. That is number 2. You can hear that probably shortly on YouTube as well.
It's already there.
Already up on YouTube. Search 99.9 The Fan. While you're there, checking out the Dan Morgan full interview, Insight into the Draft, please subscribe. That was number 2. Let's hit number 1.
The one! Wanted to get it to Jarvis off the boards. Back for Gossesbear. Oh! Game over! Series over! Sebastian Aho wins it on the power play in overtime!
Canes punched their ticket to the second round yesterday with a Game 5 double overtime, come from behind multiple times win over the New Jersey Devils. For more details, here's 2 minutes of gold with our very own Adam Gold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 Hurricane stars and 2 moments of utter brilliance that put Carolina into round 2, and it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Carolina's got 2 bona fide stars on the front end. I'll make that 3. We'll throw Seth Jarvis in. But 2 stars led them to round 2. Everything just hits different when Andrei Svechnikov scores a goal. Carolina down 3-0 into the second period, and there it was. Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, real quick, but then Andrei Svechnikov draws even. See if you can feel this.
Warlock wants to make a move. Up top, Svechnikov, he scores! That's the magic! We're tied at 3!
I'm still feeling the vibrations of that, as I was and still am, from 2 Sebastian Aho power play goals. The first, when it became 4-3 New Jersey, from the right side of the rink.
Jarvis, side of the net, they score! Jarvis to Aho, a power play goal, and the Canes have tied it at 4!
And then this one in double overtime to send Carolina to round 2.
Aho wanted to get it to Jarvis off the boards. Back for Gossesbear. Aho, game over!
Sebastian Aho is now the only Hurricane to end 2 playoff series with overtime game-winning goals. That's it. It's happened 8 times in history. Aho's done it twice. The last one to do it before him was Jesper Fast, who did it, by the way, to beat the Devils 2 years ago in the second round. See if Carolina can do it again, Washington, or Montreal. Pick your poison. Either way, we'll see you in round 2. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Center, sound sleep, sound health. I'm going to get some sound sleep before round 2.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'd be lying if I didn't have that thought with Adam as well, which is like, if we're staying up this late in the middle of the week, better get a win out of it. I'm not staying up this late for a loss, Canes. And then they went ahead and win. Way to go. Thank you, Sebastian Aho. I've got a 2-month-old at home. If I'm going to stay up in the middle of the night, she's going to be the one keeping me up. You don't have to do that. But now they do get a little bit of a break. Real quickly, Dennis, how emotional was it for you seeing Pesci hug everybody in the handshake line, and Rod looking like he just saw his best friend from he moved away and he got to visit and go back like that? There was a big hug there from a guy that's normally pretty stoic.
To paraphrase Rod post game, he's like, for the last 10 days or so, we hated these guys, but he's seen a lot of the guys on the other side. He's like, those guys are Hurricanes in his eyes. Like, those guys are,
once a Cane, always a Cane style Canes.
Well, you mentioned Brett Pesci. He's like, the reasons why we are where we are now is because of Brett Pesci. Like, he was there before Rob was even head coach, and Rob was just an assistant. He and Slavin coming up together. Like, Slavin, Aho, Stahl, those guys were all part of that group that was a carryover from the previous coaching staff and all that up to what you see right now. So, yes, there was obviously, like you said, we hated these guys for 10 days, but, that guy's still our brother. Still love that guy.
And also, glad we beat you. Proud of how you played specifically.
Pesci was great.
Pesci kept him in some games that they had no business being kept in. So it was kind of cool. It does remind you that they're humans, right? A lot of times at least I don't want to group everybody together, I get lost in just looking at numbers on a contract spreadsheet and going, well, you can move this guy, and this guy, it's a very tradable contract, or this guy comes off the books after this season, and you're really just thinking of them like numbers, like you're a calculator. They're humans, right? Like I mean, he couldn't stick around. He was too expensive, and the Devils paid him. There was really no way around it if you wanted to pay Jarvis and some of these other guys. But that doesn't mean that, they're not humans that wish they could have found a way to stick around. It's a business. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's grab some numbers game contestants, shall we? We have tickets to see Bryan Adams with Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo at the Lenovo Center on November 5th, going to the winner of the numbers game today. If you want to win the numbers game, you have to play. If you want to play, you have to call in. The number to call, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 to play the numbers game. Coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
And I get asked all the time, what's the key for Carolina to go far in the playoffs? There are 2 keys. One is obvious. Got to get decent goaltending. Either Frederik Andersen or Pyotr Kochetkov need to be at least good. But if you want to go far in the playoffs, Andrei Svechnikov has to be something resembling the player that got a $7.75 million contract.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
John is in a hot tub on his vacation. He earned 20,000 points by spending $2,000 with his Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card. To be clear, you don't have to vacation in a hot tub to redeem this offer. But John did, because the bubbles make him happy. Right now, you can earn 20,000 points when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. Offer ends January 1st, 2026. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Visit NavyFederal.org for details.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I am in studio with my friend Jeff Hoffman from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. So I have a front door. If it never opened, I wouldn't know because I haven't used it. But front doors, that's the start of your house. You have a lot of options when it comes to doors.
Absolutely. The front door is the focal point of the house. Give us an opportunity to come out. We'll sit down with an iPad, actually develop the door for you. A couple different door styles or types to choose from, but then there's multiple styles that you can apply to that actual door. We can put it on the iPad to where it puts the image on the house, so you can sit there and as you're changing it, you're going to see what it looks like on the house. From the paint, the hardware, the glass packages, just anything that you need. And of course, it's going to be installed by certified Provia installers.
Well, again, does it have to open? Because I don't know that I've ever walked through it.
Yes, Adam, you'll have company. You'll need it to open.
All right, you do back doors, you do storm doors, all sorts of doors as well.
Absolutely. Sliding doors, French doors, patio doors, whatever you need, we can get it taken care of.
800-672-4348, aluminumcompany.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have a pair of tickets to see Bryan Adams with Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo at the Lenovo Center on November 5th. Going to either Frank and Clayton or Josh and Raleigh, but they'll have to win to get the tickets. As always, we'll ask a question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer. Same question, both players. Whoever gets picked will get to go first. It's just how we decide the lineup, the batting order. We'll start with Frank and Clayton. Frank, are you there?
I am here.
All right, so last night, Sebastian Aho had a game winner. Tyrese Halliburton had a buzzer-beating game winner. So I ask you, what is the greatest game winner in sports history? A walk-off, a buzzer beater, just a game-ending play. What is the best one that pops into your mind?
Oh, I would say a walk-off home run that wins the World Series.
Oh,
Joe Carter.
Okay.
Mazeroski.
There it is. And any questions, Dennis? Nope. All right. Nope. Josh and Raleigh, you are up next. Are you ready to answer?
Yeah.
All right. The question. If you already know the question, go ahead and answer.
I'd go with walk-off grand slam.
Ooh, little bit of a one-upsmanship there. Dennis, who gets the win?
Walk-off grand slam is pretty impressive, but a walk-off that wins a World Series, I got to go Frank in this one.
All right.
Both tremendous answers, though.
I think I saw it just went viral. Somebody won a baseball state championship on a walk-off grand slam.
Nice.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. When you dust the Letterman's jacket off 30 years from now. Remember back in state in 2025 when I hit the walk-off grand slam? Went viral. Frank and Clayton gets to go first. Josh and Raleigh, go ahead and sit on the line. You will have your chance, I promise. Frank, you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right. We have NFL players that were drafted in 2019, NFL players that were drafted in 2018, two separate categories. NBA players, all LeBron's teammates. So they played with LeBron somewhere, sometime in the NBA, or NHL Hurri-Canes only.
I do Canes only.
All right. The way this works, I will give you the team and the player. I will say the team, even though you know it in this category, to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope. I'm all set.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jackson Blake, Carolina Hurricanes.
53.
Correct. Dmitry Orlov, Carolina Hurricanes.
7.
Correct. Michael Jordan, Carolina Hurricanes.
24.
Incorrect. Klaus Dahlbeck, Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, my goodness. We're going back here. Pass.
Sean Hill, Carolina Hurricanes.
22.
Correct. Mikael Jordan, Carolina Hurricanes.
16.
Incorrect. Klaus Dahlbeck, Carolina Hurricanes.
18.
Incorrect. Sean Hill, Carolina Hurricanes.
I already did Sean Hill.
Yeah, he got Sean right.
Oh, he did. Oh, sorry. I was a little off. Luckily, I messed that up against the buzzer, so I don't think it cost you anything. How many did you get right?
No.
3. All right, we got 3. Jordan, we were looking for 47. Dahlbeck, we were looking for 6. Wow, I completely blanked out on that one. You got Hill with 22. You got Blake with 53, and you got Orlov with 7. 3 is a solid answer, solid number. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stay on the line. Josh and Raleigh, are you there?
Yes.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players that were all drafted in the year 2019, NFL players that were all drafted in the year 2018, or NBA players. We're talking only LeBron's teammates throughout the years.
I'll do LeBron's teammates.
Okay. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need at least 4 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Anthony Davis, Los Angeles Lakers.
15.
Incorrect. Chris Bosh, Miami Heat.
4.
Incorrect. Anthony Davis, Los Angeles Lakers.
3.
Correct. Anderson Varejao, Cleveland Cavaliers.
45.
Incorrect. Chris Bosh, Miami Heat.
5.
Incorrect. Anderson Varejao, Cleveland Cavaliers.
17.
Correct. Mario Chalmers, Miami Heat.
99.
Incorrect. Chris Bosh, Miami Heat. I'm going to be honest with you. I would not have gotten Chris Bosh either, and I'm pretty good at those. Anthony Davis, 3, you got it. Chris Bosh, number 1. I have no idea why, but that does not connect with me at all. Anderson Varejao, 17. You got that one. That's a nice pull. And Mario Chalmers, we were looking for number 15. Mario Chalmers, 15. That's number. You got 2 right. Unfortunately, not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun.
Yeah, I did.
All right. That means the winner is Frank and Clayton. Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
You get the tickets to see Bryan Adams with Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo, all at the Lenovo Center on November 5th, and all for playing the numbers game. Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right, stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you. You ready for my Mario Chalmers story? Ready? I've got one Mario Chalmers story, and there's not a lot of opportunities to tell Mario Chalmers stories. When I was in college, I believe going into my junior year, we took a family vacation to St. Kitts. Big family vacation. It's like a very very highly thought of family vacation in our family history. We were there. We were at like a timeshare thing in St. Kitts. It's an island in the Caribbean somewhere. St. Kitts and Nevis, and it was right after the Heat won an NBA championship. Right after, like we're talking less than 2 weeks after. And I'm walking around the facility, resort, whatever, going from the pool to the beach, whatever it was. And Mario Chalmers walks by in the hallway, and I was like, "That's Mario Chalmers. He just won an NBA championship. That's crazy." Had a couple buddies with him. There was a casino there. I think he was on the way, maybe. Don't quote me on that. Just seemed like the direction he was walking. And then Mario Chalmers proceeded to be, right, it wasn't a big resort. Saw that guy like 100 times that weekend. He was just always kicking around. He'd be at the restaurant. He'd be sitting there. He had his buddies. He'd be at the beach. He'd be whatever. Never said anything to him, but like head nodded him a ton because I was like too cool, right? I'm not going to blow up his spot, but I want him to know that I know that he is who he is, and he's coming off an NBA championship with the Heat. So there's just a lot of like, what's up, as we walked in past each other in the hallway. But Mario Chalmers and I once vacationed at the same place. He was there celebrating an NBA championship with a bunch of buddies. I was there with my parents and my brother. We were doing very similar things in life. But shout out to Mario Chalmers. And yes, I would not have gotten Chris Bosh, who was also on that championship team, at all. Would not have guessed he was going to be number 1 on his roster, on his jersey, if you gave me 10 guesses.
I'm not going to lie. If I had to do the numbers game, NBA would be the worst category for me.
I mean,
I would struggle so badly.
I agree that I think listeners have struggled in that category a lot. But, I mean, Anthony Davis, Chris Bosh, these are all-stars.
They're people I know.
I do think you get maybe a little bit more, fastballs down the middle in NBA because nobody knows, the eighth guy off the bench. If you're, the defensive stopper coming in for 4 minutes a half, nobody knows your number in the NBA. So, I don't know, just something to think about. What category would you pick? That's actually a good question.
I feel like I would do decent with Canes. Canes just
I think you would do decent with Canes. I don't think numbers in you don't think numbers in the NBA. I don't think numbers in the NHL. I think the game moves too fast for me, so you have to know them by skating style. My eyes don't work that quick.
I think at least for me, with hockey, the numbers are so large.
True.
On the back of the uniform that you can on the sweaters that you can actually tell who somebody is.
I think I would do very well with either of the NFL draft classes.
Oh, you with anything NFL, I think you would do just fine.
Yeah, I might go NBA though, just to challenge myself.
Okay, that's fair.
We have to set that. That I'm putting this officially on the agenda. We have to have a week in the summer where it is beat Tim week or Tim versus week, and we have to have a week in the summer where it's Dennis versus week.
Okay.
Where you call in to play against us, and if you win, you get a prize. If not, obviously we don't get a prize, but we get bragging rights. I want to see how good we are because I talk about strategies and stuff so much. I want to see if we're as good as I think we are. So put that on the agenda somewhere in the summer. I've said it on air, so shall it be done? Or we could decide to change our minds. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis has something he'd like to pass along.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for Loan Pronto. Folks, are your monthly bills, they keeping you up at night? Maybe you're worried about your finances in these crazy times. If you're like most people, you have racked up a sizable amount on your credit cards, and the monthly payment is not making a dent in it. It's time to call Loan Pronto. If you own a home, you have a super easy way to get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash. Loan Pronto has lots of options for helping you tap into your equity and the equity of your home and get the cash that you need to get back on solid footing. Most homeowners who do this end up wiping out all their credit card debt and cutting their monthly expenses by $1,000. Look, you didn't mean to end up here, but you don't have to keep stressing about money. Call Loan Pronto for fast debt relief now. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Again, the website, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Here's the thing about the playoffs. You win the first round, you get to play in the second round. We look forward for the Canes coming up next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
A record in sports that would be a big deal if it was broken and we'd all be in on it is 100 points in a game in the NBA.
Oh, yeah, big time.
If I told you within the next 20 years in the NBA, somebody would score 101 points in one game.
I could see it. Couldn't you see a team just waving the white flag and another team taking advantage of that?
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Replace stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text SKINNY to 323232 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text SKINNY to 323232 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text SKINNY to 323232. That's SKINNY to 323232. SKINNY to 323232.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same-game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. TNCs apply.
Welcome home. Your home is more than just walls and windows. It's where your story unfolds. At Baker Home Exteriors, we understand that every detail helps write that story. For over a century, our parent company, Baker Roofing, has set the standard for excellence, and now we're bringing that same dedication to your home. From roofing and siding to windows, gutters, and more, our craftsmen transform houses into the sanctuaries you've always imagined. Visit BakerHomeExteriors.com to begin your home's next chapter.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
This hour of the drive brought to you by the Body Armor State Games. The Body Armor State Games are coming this June to Greensboro. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Athletes of all ages and skills can register now at bodyarmorstategames.org.
Mark Jankowski trying a little self-flip. He will draw all of the Devils' attention. That allows Blake to cruise in. Blake, he'll step out in front. Marshall, he can't stop it. Jackson Blake, his first playoff goal. And this place has been amped to 11. It's a one-goal game here in Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. If the second goal pushed it to 11, what'd the third goal do? The Svetch goal that tied things up just a couple of minutes later.
15?
Yeah. And then what did the game winner do in second overtime?
For all my wrestling fans, they would know that as a Road Warrior pop.
All right. What is it for non-wrestling fans? Loud?
20.
Okay. All right, there we go. It was a really cool night last night. If you stuck around till the end, it's obviously a big win for the Canes. It solidifies Rod Brindamore in a very exclusive club of just him, as far as coaches that have won at least one postseason series in each of their first 7 years as a head coach with the franchise. 7 seasons, 7 postseason series, at least, right? At least one each year. Obviously, he made it to the Eastern Conference Final a couple times, so there's more, on average more. But that is really cool and it's really good, and it needs to be appreciated. And I said it yesterday before the show, but there are currently, actively, 8 teams in the NHL without a head coach. They don't have one. They're looking, they're interviewing, they're hoping to get somebody that can, I don't know, win consistently for their franchise. And Rod Brindamore has won at least one postseason series every year he's been running the Canes. And it's starting to get to the point where guys are filtering through, right? It's you could argue, and it's been argued about many coaches many, many times, that if you stumble into coaching like a generational core of players, you can go down as an all-time great coach when, heck, I could have coached him, right? You just, I don't know. I feel like I could be Usain Bolt's track coach. That direction, go. Right? It's like Usain Bolt is fast. That helps a lot. You're starting to get to the point now where, 5 guys? Just 5 have been on the roster for all 7 of the postseason series years that they've won. That's not that many. Right, you're starting to get to the point where there's a lot of former Canes on a lot of other teams and a lot of retired Canes that are hanging around looking to be siren sounders, and yet Rod Brindamore is still on the bench and they're still winning, and that is to be commended. I also want to use this point to talk about the franchise as a whole. When you win 7 consecutive years, at least one postseason series, I hate to say it, you do start to go, well, that's the expectation, right? The bar has been raised. Winning a postseason series doesn't get the juices flowing the way it used to. Now you're aiming for something bigger, and that's exactly what Sebastian Aho said on his little 3 stars of the game interview right after the game. The timeline of it is crazy, and I wish I would have put a stopwatch so I could tell you the exact kind of breakdown. Sebastian Aho scores the game winner, okay, second overtime, awesome play. Celebration ensues, right? The guys mob him all the way on the other side of the ice. Big celebration. You go do the emotional, kind of cool hockey tradition of the handshake lines after a series. You hug Pesci. You give your respect to the guys that you just battled against for 5 straight hard-fought games. Go to the locker room. And this is all happening within like 10 minutes. You come back out because you are the top star of the game. You go to the interview, and they talk about winning the first series. And Aho already had flipped the switch. Aho hits this quote: "Obviously, we're not here to make second round. We're here to go all the way. Job is not done." Not an exact quote. I took out a couple you knows and that kind of deal. That's like, as far as the meaning, that is the exact quote. That's awesome. I love that. And the ability to be there that quickly after that game is unreal. And what it does is it just sets the expectation, right? And I don't know. Did you see the intermission interview with Jordan Stahl?
I did not see that, no.
I think it's being taken out of context a bunch. He said the words, "We thought it was going to be easy." I think what he was getting at, and if you watch the full minute video that's going around, you catch more of it. He wasn't saying like we should have thought it was easy. He's saying we obviously showed up flat. It was him calling out the team, saying like, obviously we thought it was going to be easy. It was not him saying like, hey, as captain, I told them it was going to be easy. But there's this weird blowback to the quote that's happening, and there's calling for then Aho's my captain. Listen, Aho will have his time. Right now, Stahl's the captain. Okay? Don't take things out of context. Don't think one quote upends all of the great leadership he's given for years and years and years. Stahl is the captain. But if Aho wants to be the emotional leader, if he wants to be the tone setter, that's fine. Right? If he wants to be the one saying quotes like this to make sure everybody is snapped in and nobody thinks they've arrived because they won a first-round series, do it. Right? There are some rumblings. I think Martinook was quoted saying that, Aho was the one that kind of snapped in the dressing room between the first and second series to let everybody know it was time to go. Like, if that's going to be Aho, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. And that mindset from one of your best players that just had a moment that would be a career highlight for a bunch to already be like over celebrating and on to the next, that's fantastic. And you get a couple extra days because you ended the series early. If Montreal wins tonight, you'll get a couple extra even on top of that. And it is about winning the next series. That is what it's about. And once that series is over, it's about winning the Eastern Conference Finals. And once that series is over, you go on to the next because this is a team that has raised the bar over the last 7 seasons. Right? Winning a first-round series, I think, should be celebrated. It should be appreciated. Continued excellence, continued fielding a competitive team year in and year out, regardless of who leaves and who stays. That should be celebrated. But with the expectation, with the understanding that it's not enough. This team will be judged by how they play in the postseason, and they're not near a passing grade yet. Eastern Conference Finals, we can start talking about, well, all right, where's the passing grade? Stanley Cup Finals, obviously, we're getting into like, hey, teacher's pet over here. There's levels to this thing. But I didn't even expect it to be that quick from Aho. You know, I'm as like over the top kind of try hard of a competitor as I know, and even I'm going like celebrate it for a couple hours. Like go grab a meal or something and talk about how awesome it is to end a series with a second overtime goal.
Yeah, sleep in, sleep in the next day. You earned it.
But he was already switch flipped, and I think that's also part of he's feeling it, right? And he should. Like he's part of a core that's got a little bit of a stigma of, you know, great in the regular season, doesn't get it done in the postseason, all that. He's feeling it, and he doesn't want him, you know, leave anything to chance. And I just respect the heck out of it.
Hopefully by winning in 5, a little extra rest. Canes did not skate today. They're actually not going to skate tomorrow either, so it's good. Just, hey, get out of the skates for a couple days. Put your feet up, relax, do the recovery stuff. We'll have team meetings and all that, but they still don't even know who they're playing next.
Play some super talk.
There you go.
Relax, unwind with the fellas. It's a good mind space. That's all I'm going to say. And we'll see who they're playing, right? And we'll pay attention to Montreal and Washington tonight. Washington leads that series 3-1. So could be over tonight, could drag on a bit, and they'll have to go back to Montreal if they win. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have Overdrive coming up next with a couple of heavy hitter interviews from earlier today. Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, joined us earlier today. That's going to lead off Overdrive. And then Canes fans, Taylor Hall joined the show. He scored last night, the first goal of the night for the Canes. I was almost right on my first goal scored prediction. He did it like a minute too late. I had him in the first period. He scored to start the second.
You did predict the overtime winner, though.
I did. But I had it from Jarvis.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, I'm close. I'm on there. I'm around the board. Maybe not bullseyes, but we're in the green of the dartboard. Overdrive is coming up next. Subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Dan. Thank you to Taylor for joining us. Enjoy. Overdrive next.
Need more Stanley Cup chatter, Canes fans? Listen afternoons at 12:15 and 4:15 for our Cup Check-In. Served up by Carolina Ale House. Adam Gold talks with hockey's best, past and present, bringing you the latest insight on the chase for Lord Stanley's Cup. It's the Cup Check-In on 99.9 The Fan. Served up by Carolina Ale House. Come to Carolina Ale House Cary for away game watch parties throughout the playoffs, or visit carolinaalehouse.com/Canes.
Heineken Silver is a world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. It keeps things light and refreshing all year round. It's like rain showing up to cool things off and then politely leaving. It's like